National Stock Car season is delivering all the essential elements: excitement, speed, and controversy. As we come to the 10th race of 95, Johnny Benson's consistency has kept his Chevy at the top of the points heap, but it hasn't been all Benson and bow ties. In the blue oval camp, hard-charging Chad Little has 3 victories to his credit. The head-to-head battle between these 2 new stars, the crowning touch for the Busch Grand National present, and may very well be the face of NASCAR's future.
It's the Meridian Advantage 200 on a breezy and beautiful day here in western Pennsylvania. Welcome to Nazareth, folks, the mile, where today 42 Grand National stars are getting ready to play. As we say, it's a bit on the breezy side, but you couldn't get a better temperature. Doesn't look like any possibility of rain, maybe a shower late in the day, but other than that, it's perfect. Hello, everybody. Ken Squire. We're thrilled to have you with us. We're going to try our very best to give you a race as good as last night, but that'll have to go some. Wasn't that exciting here on TNN, that Winston Select? Congratulations to Jeff Gordon and company. Well, today, it's a brand new day, brand new race, and here's how the point battle looks. Johnny Benson's up on top by 172 over Chad Little. Labonte's still up in there. Phil Parsons at the present time is tied with Larry Pearson for 6th. Then Magic Shoes McLaughlin, and all the way back in the top 10 you see Jim Bound. Now, when you come to this racetrack, when you come to Nazareth, some people talk about it as an oval, some people talk about it as a road course, everybody talks about it as a handful. And with us, we're delighted to have P.J. Jones, one of NASCAR's great truck driving stars. You'll see him out at Odessa right here on TNN next weekend. P.J., tell us a little about this track.
Well, this track has 3 distinctive different corners. I like to think of it as a little Pocono. Going down into turn 1 is a fast left-hand sweeper. It's tight at the exit. In turn 2, it's flat, it's fast. Best place to set up another car to pass going down the back straightaway. Going into 3, it's tight at the beginning. You let the car drift up towards the wall, try to pick off another car underneath him coming off. Tight place to race, nice place, fast. You'll see some great racing here.
We are going to see some great racing. Engines have already been fired. Let's go down to pit road. Here's Ralph Shaheen.
This is the Slim Jim Chevy of David Green. It is the pole-sitting car here this afternoon. David, you've raced here 4 times, and each time you've finished here 3 times, and you finished 4th 3 times. What do you got to do to win here today? David's little brother Jeff will start right behind him in 3rd.
Suffice it to say, the way to come out on top here is to stand on it. We'll see what happens. Engines fired, ready to go in the 200.
Well, the battery's good, and the starter's brand new, so I figure it's got to be the alternator, right? I go into the auto zone, get a new one. Well, this guy says, well, let's check the old one first. No sense buying something you may not need. Well, turns out it's a voltage regulator. I tell you, I could have spent a lot of time swapping out parts till I got it right. But with AutoZone, piece of cake.
Man has always been fascinated with speed. But winning is more than a flash of speed. It's a measure of skill. A test of guts. That's why the true spirit of NASCAR lies not in the machine, but in the man who drives it. We're proud to be part of this great sport. Busch, the official beer of NASCAR.
Splitfire won a United States patent. It's clearly different, but is it really better? Some of the toughest judges in the nation conducted trials and published their verdicts. 5 extra horsepower by merely installing these plugs. A 4.8% gain in mileage. Quicker in the quarter mile. There's nothing like a split fire. You'll get more power and more mileage guaranteed. You'll get it all for your money back.
One of these hammers is jacketed in high-impact polycarbonate. The other one is broken. The fiberglass jacketed hammer from Stanley.
No trendy health club. No $60 shorts. No bull. Speedstick's no-nonsense formula gives you 110% protection. Like you, it never quits.
Today's exclusive coverage of the Meridian Advantage 200 on TNN is brought to you by the more than 1,000 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. By Smooth Busch Beer and Easy Drinking Busch Light. Busch, the official beer of NASCAR. By Splitfire, the patented performance spark plug. It only costs more till you use it. And by Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car. 7 different winners here at Nazareth. Looks like an 8th sure today. Let's take a look at our starting grid. Up in the front row, it's David Green, 14th career pole, and Tom Fedewa, his best qualifying ever. Jeff Green and Hermie Sadler alongside. Getting to row 3, there's the point leader, Johnny Benson Jr., and Curtis Markham, the veteran from Virginia. Row 4 is Kevin LePage from Vermont, and from the great Northwest, Dirk Stevens. In row 5, Larry Pearson and Doug Heverin. Row 6 is Ed Barrier and Randy Porter. For row 7, it's Mike McLaughlin getting in there with Tracy Leslie. Row 8 is Tom Bowles, the leading Busch North competitor, and Chad Little, who won last week at Loudon. Row 9 is Jeff Fuller and Johnny Rumley. Row 10, Phil Parsons and Tommy Houston. For row 11, Rodney Combs is there, and Richard Petty's driver, 8th in points, and Elton Sawyer back after the run last night in the Winston. Row 12 is Mike Stepanek and Jason Keller. 13, Martin Truax and Kelly Moore. The 14th row, Dale Shaw and Dennis Setzer. Patty Moise in row 15 with Jim Bow. Row 16 today will be Bobby Dragon with Robbie Crouch, a couple of Vermonters there. Row 17, Bobby Dotter and Jeremy Mayfield. Joe Betsy and Reiser in row 18. Row 19, Jeff Berry and Ron Thiel. Row 20, Marquis and Dynamite Dave Dion, and Dale Williams and Rob Wilson bring the field down for 200 laps, 200 miles, here where you can't get any closer. TNN. Clear start into 1. Then into that number 2 turn, and PJ, that's the one. You just keep on cranking to get around there.
Right, I think you can see all the cars right now. They're just falling into line, trying to be patient. They got a long race ahead of them. You don't want to get in trouble early.
David Green out in front. Last time he led was at Hickory. Woo! Down to the inside and in trouble. Goes the number 43, Rodney Combs, and we've got a tangle already. It's car number 18, Randy Porter, looking for a good day. Ends up in the wall down in turn 3.
It looks like they just didn't get in line going down into turn 3. It's tight down there. You know, probably somebody trying to get a little over anxious getting in grass, and it looks like somebody got sideways and started that.
Indeed they did. You can see the 43 of Rodney Combs. He's been ill the last several days. He's going to be more ill if that number 43 is torn up out there after this first altercation going down the backstretch with the number 1 Pontiac here in competition. In replay, let's see, PJ, if we can. That's a part of the track you're pretty familiar with. You did some wall testing down there yourself, didn't you? Look again.
Yeah, it looks like that, you know, there's just not enough give and take down there. It looks like just one of those racing things, maybe, not knowing there was a car, the 25 not knowing there was a car on the inside of him, and when the 43 got in the grass, he just got sideways and got into the 25. Yeah, I tested that concrete wall out one time in an Indy Lights car down there in turn.
That seems though I remember you had a real good time down there one time. Anyway, we'll take a quick break and be back. This is lap number 1 when it got loose. Going into turn 3, the toughest turn here at Nazareth. More on TNN shortly.
From Texaco Clean System 3 gasolines to Haviland Formula 3 motor oil and Texaco Antifreeze coolant, there's no better place to take your car than to the Star.
Got to treat it real good. Ooh, you got to treat it so fine. Put the pedal to the metal, mile after mile. Keep it humming all the time. Add more life to your car. Take it to the Star.
Welcome back to Nazareth, Pennsylvania. The Meridian Advantage 200, banking institution here in Pennsylvania for the last couple of hundred years. And take a look at the race analysis as it's presented by AutoZone. More than 1,000 AutoZone stores across America. Best parts in auto parts. AutoZone. So enough money out there to get everybody's attention today, PJ?
Yeah, there is. You know, it's sad to see something like that happen on the first lap. A little bit of an accident between, it looked like it started out with the 43 and the 25, Combs and Johnny Rumley.
And there you see Rodney's in, and they're working on that number 43 as they pick up the number 18 to bring in. And boy, what a bad break for Randy Porter, who really thought he had things put together pretty well for this afternoon. Randy Porter's efforts in qualifying had looked good. They were very excited about the potential for the car. Ted Condor, previously as an owner, had a victory here. And Ralph Shaheen can tell us about pit road for the moment. Ralph?
Ken, they brought the 43 in a couple of times to check it, to make sure it was squared up okay, that the towing was okay. They pulled some body work away from the right-hand side of the car. They've sent him back out. One car we're going to keep our eyes on is Robbie Reiser's entry. The word is he's not feeling very well. He might come in shortly and change drivers, and we'll have an update for you on that if he does.
Ralph, a moment ago, we also saw from the north Kelly Moore's car number 4 in. Any update on that? Was he in part of that altercation?
We haven't heard anything or seen Kelly Moore down on pit road yet, Ken. Apparently, he must feel fairly comfortable with the car the way it is after getting involved in that incident.
I think what may have happened is he got on the binders and took a little damage in the nose of his car, because as it comes by, it doesn't look quite like it did a lap before this race began. Anyway, David Green stays in front. There again is the incident that brought out the first yellow of the day. There's about a 35-foot descent out of turn number 2 into turn 3. You really feel like you're flying downhill, don't you? Now, there is that 4 coming in right now, Kelly Moore.
Yeah, you really do. I mean, that's a place where you really pick up some speed. I'd say the fastest place on the track. And it looks like they, on the replay, that they just tried to go in there 3 abreast, and the 25 was right in the middle of it and got squeezed out, and that just kind of just started the mayhem down there.
The tic-tac car for Kelly Moore. Robbie Crouch had that right. Kelly Moore's been the top runner-up in that Northeastern Busch Grand National North Series, PJ. Great little racer, and that's too bad for him, too, here. We're showing 6 laps complete. If you're just joining us on TNN, Mike Joy and Baker. Here's Elton Sawyer giving you these pictures. He's going to, as you know, he had a pretty busy night last night down there in the Winston from the Ford credit car. He'll have some pretty exciting work for you to look at before the afternoon is over.
I always love to watch these shots. I mean, this is really what it's like to be inside the race car. We get to, you get to see out back, you get to see the side view, which the driver doesn't get to see, but looking out the front windshield, I mean, that's really what the driver's seeing out there.
Well, we'll see how Elton does here today. He has been one busy chap. He came up here, actually he was down at Charlotte, came up here, qualified, flew back, ran that Winston Select. Wasn't that some race last night?
I'll tell you, I mean, that was an exciting race. I mean, there was probably 10 upset drivers, but there was a lot of fans in there, and I know everybody was screaming. We were screaming and yelling, and Jeff Gordon, I mean, did a great job.
I tell you, you would have thought it was the Super Bowl. We were in a hotel here in Nazareth, and the whole place was jumping. Great job last night for Buddy Baker and Mike Joy, and for Ernie Irvin. Thanks, guys. Hope you're enjoying this afternoon's telecast, and don't forget, they'll be back with you, Odessa, Missouri, coming up next weekend. PJ, you're going to win this thing on TNN coming up?
I hope so. You know, looking at that replay of that accident down turn 3 brings back some memories, you know. You just got to be patient. That's one of our problems has been, you know, we just haven't been patient enough in traffic. And next week at Odessa, you know, we're just going to ride her out until about the last 20 laps and then stand on the gas.
Big time racing, bad trucks. You're going to enjoy it here on TNN next week, and PJ is part of the cast in this all-new series that's taking America by storm. All right, I think we're just about set to crank this one up another time. And as they come down to take green, we'll have car number 44. It'll be David Green defending Grand National champion, up in front. And in the second spot for the flag will be Tom Fidoa, who started outside of the front row. Then riding in third, you'll see Jeff Green coming to the line, followed by Hermie Sadler. Back in that fifth spot, as they come down to take the flag, it is Johnny Benson Jr. Chevrolet. Nice, easy start. Pace car is in. Coming through to complete lap 8 on this mile track. We're rolling. Correction, that is 7. Thought they were going to change it coming out of 3. They changed it a little early.
Well, it looks like David Green got off to a great start. You know, he really got on the gas early, and Tim Fidoa lagged behind just a little bit. Here we are down into turn number 3. Fidoa under challenge. Tim Fidoa holds off the number 3 of Jeff Green, driving for Dale Earnhardt. You can see now the 3 car just going underneath Tim Fidoa, Jeff Green. It looks like, you know, that's going to be your major passing places today, is just trying to pick them off going into turn 1. You saw Hermie Sadler tuck right in there, and there's Sadler trying to go under the number 3 car. He got him. He tapped him a little bit. We got trouble down off the turn 2. Yeah, that's the 71. That's the Teddy Bear car, and LePage slides in, hits the wall, and we've tangled him up in turn 2 big time. It looks like New York City, 5 o'clock.
I thought you'd say L.A.
Well,
no, sir. He's going to give all the East credit. You can tell he's a West Coast driver.
Well, they're still pushing and shoving, trying to get going and not lose that lap. It's, you know, here comes David Green, and he's raced back to the yellow.
Oh, that is a hard hit. Saw Tracy Leslie, 72, trying to get back. I think that's Phil Parsons, who's so well up in points. He's had such a consistent run, and things not looking good for Phil right here. That is a savage one.
That is. You know, that's too bad for them. They've been trying awful hard. I've been talking to Phil this weekend and David Iff, his crew chief, and they said they've had some good cars. They just last weekend were off the pace a little bit, and it's too bad for him. He's a great racer.
Indeed, he is. He's looking forward to getting back to Charlotte. Riding with the budget gourmet car right now of Jason Keller. Got some replays on what got this all started in turn number 2. Saw Fuller get out a little high. There you see the 71. That's LePage sliding across the track. And on that is almost negative camber. That track goes out from under you right there. So if you touch the brakes after you're into that 2 and committed, that second turn, there's not much you can do but go for a ride.
Yeah, it looks like somebody might have tapped LePage and got him around backwards, and that just started mayhem back there. They just, after that, it was just everybody trying to dodge each other, and too bad for Phil Parsons' Luxair car, because it looks like he took the worst of it.
Tommy Houston spun. I don't think he got caught too badly. You see Tracy Leslie up on the outside. Wow, that's a tough way to start the day for Tom Bowles, and there's Chad Little bringing number 23 in and going for right side tires.
That's too bad. Our second place points standard right now. Looks like he's got the nose halfway torn off of it, and he's coming in for right side tires. This is definitely going to put a little bit of a hamper on his day.
And of course, he's going for his 4th win. That incredible victory that you saw on TNN up there at Loudon, New Hampshire. Held back in 5th that first third of the race.
Yeah. Chad Little, he's definitely got some nose damage, and that's really going to affect him. You know, with the nose torn up like that, his downforce in the front, I can't imagine it's going to be too good. I mean, I don't know how they're going to straighten that out to get him back in a good race car. It's probably going to be a long day for him.
Won that first race of the season at Daytona, did an encore at Rockingham, looked great at Loudon on the mile, but today at Nazareth, the second turn has snagged him. There are now 11 laps of the 200 complete, and already we've had 2 cautions.
Pep Boys has a huge selection of name brand car care products at incredible low prices, like STP brake fluid or STP power steering fluid, now only 24 cents. After mail-in rebate, your choice only 24 cents, and only at Pep Boys.
Peerless Faucet didn't come up with the idea for a spout long and high enough to reach over and into large objects. We merely adapted it for the kitchen. High-rise faucet designs by Peerless. Get more out of your faucet than just water.
It's May the 27th, 6 o'clock Eastern. It's the Western Auto 200 live NASCAR Super Truck coverage from I-70 Speedway in Odessa, Missouri. Great track, high banked asphalt. Even the straightaways are banked.
I plan on being there.
Yeah, I bet you do.
That's Sears Die Hard #1.
So, we're getting set here. I think we're about a lap or two away. Boy, that 4 car has been drilled 4 and F now. Kelly Moore beaten up in the nose and now beaten up in the tail in this latest altercation over here in the second corner. We're watching some other equipment. Oh, Patty Moise got biffed on the right side pretty strong.
There's going to be some crews in Charlotte this weekend doing some body work.
Let's go to Ralph Shaheen.
You can see the damage to Tracy Leslie's car. The back end of the car is beat up pretty bad. Some bars have been in there, but it doesn't look like it got to the gas tank at all. Tracy, how are you and what happened?
Well, I don't know. Somebody just got turned around up there in front of us. You know, we were going to just try to last to the last 50 laps or so and see what happened from there. We had an awful good car with the Detroit Gasket Monte Carlo, and we were just hoping to put together another good run, but, you know, somebody got anxious up front, and then somebody got anxious behind me and turned me around and got in the fence.
Ken, there's a whole bunch of cars back here. 3 or 4 cars that pulled right into the back paddock area. We'll try and update you on some of the other drivers in just a minute.
Tracy Leslie, who finished 8th last week in New Hampshire and looking to improve on it today. Big problems there. Out early, working on the car at the present time, and Ralph will give you an update shortly on those cars that have gone back into the garage area. So, Tracy Leslie has had some good finishes here. 92, he had a 9th. He was in the top 10, and 94, just 10. And you see the car is down. And you're seeing that Tic-Tac car again. That really got abused. Kelly Moore is a fine race driver. Another one of those Northeasterners who is approaching Grand National through the Busch Grand National Series North. They have a series of some 15, 16 races up in the New England, New York area. And they've been getting good crowds and having a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's not a good day for him. I mean, he's got that whole rear half of that rear bumper torn off that car, and if they can keep the spoiler on it, that'll definitely help him. Running around here without a spoiler, I can't imagine it'll be too fun.
Let's update you on that Randy Porter incident that happened on the very first lap going down into turn 3. Again, here's Ralph Shaheen.
We're with Randy now. Randy, you were involved in that. Give us your view of what took place.
Well, to be honest with you, took a pretty good lick on the left side. Right now, I'm not real sure what happened. Don't really remember a whole lot at the moment.
Are you okay? Did you black out?
I'm okay. It'll probably come back to me in a little while, but I hit my head pretty hard, so I probably have to ask somebody else what happened.
Ken, you know, boy, when you can take a really hard hit inside of one of those cars, even though there's such a nice protective roll cage, you can still bang your head pretty good.
You sure can. And on this track, there's a lot of headbanging going on along pit road among the crew chiefs. Hey, Phil Parsons has talked to us about how important and how key the spotters are when you come to Nazareth, Pennsylvania. Phil?
I've ever run, other than the road course, that you need more than one spotter, but you definitely have to have 2 here. You have to have one on one side of the racetrack and one on the other. So, you know, hopefully they can keep you out of trouble.
Yep, using a couple of spotters here on both sides. A couple of wins for Phil Parsons, but this will not be number 3.
That spotter is so important. You know, he is your eyes. There's no rear view mirror, well, inside the car, but there's no side view mirror, so you never know when there's a car just up on your quarter panel to the inside, to the outside, and it's so important for the spotter to have a good one and tell you that, and especially putting him up someplace high or a couple of them in different corners, like Phil said.
Being shown in 3rd spot is Tim Fedewa's number 55 as they approach turn number 1. And it's time for the Pep Boys driver profile. Pep Boys, for quality parts, tires, and service. Holt, Michigan's Tim Fedewa has come up from the ARTCO and ASA ranks and is proving himself to be an #1 prospect for the future in NASCAR, making up a lap under green last week here at Loudon. He's ready to go.
We have a new crew chief this year with Brian Smith. Not only is he my crew chief, but he's my best friend, has been since we were babies. So it makes you feel good when you can work with someone, talk to him, not just as a crew chief, but as a best friend and as someone who genuinely cares. I think that's made a big difference in our effort. We're also, you know, my experience level has risen, which gets your confidence up. I know I can run good and win, and it just seems to get better and better. You know, I'm not really doing anything different. It just seems to fall into place a little better.
Fedewa could turn Victory Lane into a barbershop. The deal is that crewman Scott Deal is going to lose his locks if they come home first.
We started it a little while back, but his hair was getting long. We kept teasing him around the shop. Well, it's getting extremely long, and man, we told him if we win, we're going to shave him, and he's up for it, so we're looking for a big win.
This has been a Pep Boys driver profile of the driver of number 55, who started second today, Tim Fedewa. Hey, that guy Scott Deal, the guy whose hair they're going to cut, we asked him, how would he feel about this happening in Victory Lane right here today?
It's more than worth it. What has happened is over the years we've thrown everything at the car to get into Victory Lane. I figured if nothing else, this might work.
So get ready. They've got the shears, and they're looking for him to be in Victory Lane. We'll see.
As good as Tim Fedewa was running, he better be. He's probably shaking his boots right now because he looks like he could be up for a shaving today.
Yeah, they promised him Victory Lane. We're going to take a quick break and then be right back as they continue to work on the track. 17 laps are complete, and it's still David Green in front. Stay with us. Set on a restart. For more information about Featherlight trailers, call 1-800. That's 800-1230. Featherlight, the official trailer of NASCAR. Ready on a restart. Coming around with David Green, posted first. In second, Hermie Sadler is there. Riding third, Fedewa. And in fourth, Jeff Green. Benson back in fifth. Holding sixth as they go into turn one. It's Curtis Markham.
And it didn't look like David Green got as good a start as he did before when, I don't know, it was at the beginning of the race when, who was behind him? Oh, it was Tim Fedewa. He didn't get a good jump with Hermie Sadler back there. He looks like he's running pretty good.
Just behind this group, running in seventh, Larry Pearson. Coming around three and back in the scrap for the front spot. Sadler down on the inside, makes a move, and he gets David Green going through one. How about that for a piece of driving?
That was a good case of give and take. David Green knew he was up underneath him, and he just had to let him go. Otherwise, they would have both been in the fence.
Hermie Sadler looking good again, like he did at Hickory. Remember, he was out in front there, and then was wound up second to Johnny Benson after Chad Little had that little altercation with about 12 laps to go. Here comes Hermie Sadler, great Virginia driver. Cut of the same cloth as a Lenny Pond, out in front right now. They had the Legends race in Charlotte the other night. Buddy Baker and I did that on a regional network. All those old legends all got together. Buddy went down with them. Look at Chad Little trying to fight his way out of the back with that rumpled race car.
It looks like he's got his work cut out for him. You know, the front spoiler's still bent. He's trying to get past another wreck car. It looks like a long day for Chad.
Talking about Baker at the Legends race here, then none of the guys would go play with him. Lenny Pond drove a great race, that Virginia driver who he said looked so smooth, like this Hermie Sadler out there right now. Now here's Chad, well back in the field in car number 23, trying to work his way up into the top 10 again. Had that magnificent race at Loudon last week, laid back in the weeds for the first 100 laps, then put on that great show to get out in front, great war, and took it home.
Here's Chad trying to follow the 76 car through.
Oh, we've got one in the wall in turn one. Sliding to a halt goes the 09 Mike Stefanik, great modified champion out of the Northeast, who has gone full-time into Grand National Racing. And Mike Stefanik tied, I believe, for first place in the Busch Grand National standings with Stub Fadden from up in North Haverhill, New Hampshire. Took that wall hard. Third caution of the day, this at lap 25. Heavy tire marks going down as you approach turn one, across the ripple strip, then up into the wall, and another 150 feet before it finally came to a halt. As to that earlier incident, Ralph Shaheen is standing by with what has to be a heartbroken Phil Parsons.
Ken, you can see the car, the Luxair backed entry. They've got it just about put back together. They changed radiators, they changed hoses, they ripped off all the sheet metal, all the brake ducts. I'm surprised you guys even get this thing back together, Phil. How bad is it?
Well, it really didn't appear that it hit the wheels and tires, which obviously is a suspension, so it's really mostly cosmetic other than the radiator and the oil cooler. So I think we're just going to bypass the oil cooler and put another radiator on it, and we'll go back out. If it didn't hit the wheels, then it really car ought to drive okay. We should be able to run the rest of the race.
Now you're able to get back in here pretty quick. Now the incident with Busch Grand National North Point leader there, Mike Stefanik, will help this car out quite a bit, Ken.
Some kind of oil.
Indeed, cleanup is out there, and apparently you can see the skid marks. That thing spun through the grass, and you can see the thrash where it hit the concrete.
Yeah, he took an awful hit there coming into turn 1. It was amazing. They were running pretty tight. It was amazing that they didn't catch two or three cars in there. But I think everybody did a great job.
Two-time national modified champion of NASCAR, Stefanik, Rhode Island racer, with a hard hit. He is okay. We're going to take a break as they work lap number 27 under caution again here at Nazareth. Coming to you live this afternoon, we're in Nazareth, Pennsylvania for Grand National Racing, and as soon as we're off the air, it's live from Englishtown, New Jersey. Catch up on all the latest drag racing news live from Englishtown. Steve Evans and Dave McClellan standing by to bring you all of that. And later this afternoon, tune into TNN Motorsports for the NHRA Mopar Nationals from Englishtown. That begins about 5 o'clock Eastern, right here on TNN. And, of course, later, the complete day in motorsports with Race Day. Rick Benjamin along this evening, only on TNN. Now, there's a pretty good place to watch a race, if you don't mind being 150 feet up in the air and kind of wavering around.
With about 100-mile-an-hour wind up there, probably.
How about it? How do you feel about being off the ground that high, huh?
Only in an airplane.
Okay. Let's take another look at that replay if we can. We're still under caution here. This is from Elton Sawyer in that Ford Credit car. Now the 3 coming down the straightaway now. And there's the end of it.
Yeah. It's hard to say what really triggered it. It was we could see that on the replay.
It was, if it was there, it was quick and was gone. Oh, 9.
This has definitely got to help Chad Little a little bit. He's been in and out of the pits while we were at commercial, trying to get the car tuned up, get that spoiler in the front fixed a little bit better. But it's definitely taking some cars out of the race and helping his chances of at least getting some points today.
Catching back up with the field, Chad Little currently number 2 in points. David Green running second out here at the present time. No drivers ever won this race from the pole position. We'll see if David Green can change that in the 8th effort for Grand National cars here on the mile at Nazareth. Can you ever get used to this racetrack?
I don't know. You know, Indy Lights, it was just a tough place to get going around here. Here we go. We're about ready to have a green flag.
At lap 29, you go green. Sadler in first, and you're riding without the Sawyer.
Tell Elton he's a little tentative after all these wrecks. He's got a good space between him and the front car. He's making sure that he doesn't get in trouble early in this race.
And now you see it downhill into 3. Hard braking right here, right?
Right, braking hard, trying to get the car down on the racetrack, and then you watch them. They're just letting the car run right up to the fence here.
It's such a short run. As you say, it's a little like Pocono, except not the long straightaway home stretch. Very short straightaway. Boy, you sure do slide and glide around here on this mile, don't you?
Yeah, they do. You know, I was talking to a couple of drivers before qualifying, and they were just thinking, you know, can I make it to that first turn wide open? I don't know. You know, I know a couple of them were trying it, and this, we got a big wreck coming off of turn 2.
Second turn's caught him again. You can see Patty Moise right in the midst of it. I think that's Dave Dion in there as well. And here come the leaders coming up on the wreck, waving each other off to get through. Right to the back of the field that got collected that time.
It's almost a replay of the second accident we had earlier. It's just so easy back there to get caught up. It's so flat, a very difficult corner. Trying to get a good run up off the corner to try to make a pass down the back straightaway. You can see Dale Williams sitting there sideways with Patty Moise. 29 with Dave Dion.
Berlin Ford. Dion crunched up against the wall, and at least one, maybe 2 others in this as well. We've got a couple of replays. We'll spot some more for you. Here we are, out of 2. Dion sideways and sliding.
Oh, you got Jeremy Mayfield also in there.
Is that Robbie Crouch's number 0 as well, right in the middle of it?
Looks to me like Crouch's number 0 got absolutely destroyed in that.
Yeah, it was almost a replay of the second accident we had. It just one car got sideways, and it's so tight back there, they just all collected each other.
Well, there you see Patty Moise's car, and just on the other side is the old Tampa Tornado, Robbie Crouch, originally out of Tampa, Florida. His dad, C.A. Crouch, built many great cars down in the South and then moved up to the Northeast. Former champion up there in the Northeast, giving it his best try today, and that car looks like it is soundly thrashed. And you see Moise's car as well. Meanwhile, her husband, Alton Sawyer, continues to give us good pictures, although his car's a little bunched up in the nose, too. There's Elton out there with that Ford credit card. Apparently everybody okay. They're bringing another ambulance around, but probably just to check everybody else. It looked like they really rode that one down pretty hard, particularly Crouch's car and Patty's.
Yeah, you know, I hope this is not an indication how our day's going to go, all these yellows. You know, Elton's got to be riding around there concerned about his wife. You know, the first few laps of this race, it hasn't been good. Hopefully we'll get some green flag running here and let them race and see who's the contender. We really haven't had enough green laps to even see who's fast. We know Hermie Sadler's been pretty quick. He went by David Green there at the beginning, but it's hard to say who else might be coming from the back of the pack.
And here's Elton coming by where Mrs. Sawyer is parked out there in turn number 2. It's her first time back here since 1990-91 when she was driving for Mike McLaughlin, and Chad Little gets another chance to work on number 23.
Well, Chad Little and the Bear Select team, and they've got to be liking this. I know they don't want anybody to tear up their equipment, but it's definitely helping them in the pits.
Meanwhile, through all of this, remind you that Hermie Sadler stays first. He had that great run at Atlanta back in March and got a 5th place, and then that second not too long ago at Hickory. And there's the work continuing. And boy, the old tapes being applied to the number 23. Let's go down to Ralph Shaheen for a moment.
Well, Busch Grand National North Point leader Mike Stefanik is out of the infield care center. First of all, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I just want to say hello to my kids back home. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm all right, you know.
Tell me about what's going on the racetrack. Is it just real tough? Everybody trying to run wide open into turn 2?
Well, it's a real tight track, and your visibility is really poor because you're nose to tail. You really rely heavily on your spotters to miss a lot of these big wrecks.
The problem now, Ken, for Mike Stefanik is, remember, he was tied for the Busch Grand National North Points lead with Stanley Fadden. This is really going to hurt his points opportunity there with Fadden.
Jeff Green's number 3 is in for a stop and go in his 53rd start, still looking for that first win, and this is going to put him in the back of the field. That's going to make some action.
Yeah, you see Jeff Green in the pits now. They're working on the car. Looks like they're cleaning the windshield up. I don't know if he got any body damage out of that or not.
Well, we're going to get ready to take a break here. We have 34 laps complete, and the majority, 21, how many? 34. Keep on adding, like 25 of the first 35 laps are all yellow laps here as we watch Fuller come back on the track in the Earnhardt car. And we'll fill you in on this stop-and-go penalty in just a moment. Sadler for first, David Green for second, and it's Fedowa staying right there in third. More from Nazareth Live shortly.
Coverage of the Meridian Advantage 200 on TNN is brought to you by Napa. We keep America running.
Nazareth, Pennsylvania is where the action is, and you can capitalize that word action. We're at lap 37, and the majority of laps to date under a caution flag. 2 massive wrecks and 1 single car incident have created the situation where we're seeing a lot of cars running at a very slow pace. Now, we saw the 3 car being hauled in and being held not once, but twice, PJ.
Yeah, they hauled him in the first time for, I guess, racing back to the yellow in an unsafe manner. And then he ran, as he was exiting the pits there, he went and ran the stop sign at the end of pit road and had to come back again. But it didn't cost him a lap because they were under yellow, so he got lucky there. The only problem now is he's got to come back through the pack, and the worst part about that is all the crashes, and as anxious as everybody is, he's got to stay out of trouble. I talked to him earlier yesterday, and he said that the motor in his car, Dennis Fisher out of California is doing the motors, and he said that's really been a big plus to our program. It's really made us go from a middle of the packer to right up front.
That's the story on Jeff Green from P.J. Jones. Let's go back to Ralph Shaheen.
Well, we got a couple of drivers involved in the last one. Jeremy Mayfield, how are you, and what did you see?
I'm fine, you know, it's just a situation. This is my first time here, and I just seemed like I just started getting the hang of the racetrack, and we all just stacked up back there. It got pretty tight, and it seemed like this racetrack's tighter in here. I think you're going to see a lot more crashes here today than this one. It's just a bad situation for me this whole weekend. It just hadn't been good.
Jeff Berry was involved in that as well. Is that the same thing you're seeing? That's just a tough racetrack to get a handle on for a driver?
Well, everybody's got to use a lot of patience. They talked about that a lot earlier, and it really looks like there's not too much going on right now, you know, as far as patience goes. You really got to get into this track about 100 laps before you really get stringed out and start really racing, you know, at least 50 or 100 laps to get it stringed out enough. And we were pretty tight, and it just got stacked up, and it took out a lot of good cars there into the back.
Ken, PJ, it sounds to me like maybe this is going to be a day where that veteran experience is really going to pay off in the long run.
You bet your boots, and we're into a red flag condition, Ralph. They're going to bring them down for a moment while they clear the track in turn number 2. Fourth appearance for Jeff Berry was a short one today. PJ?
Well, I wanted to ask Ralph if he could talk to some of the drivers and see if the track's getting slipperier or if it started out pretty slippery. The sun has been in and out of the clouds.
All right, we've got Ralph trying to pick that story up, and here you see the rest of the damage up there. And take another look at the replay of this incident that tore up all this equipment. See Dion's car look like it got tagged. Crouch right behind him takes a solid wallop in the wall in the Auto Palace number 0. Patty Moise about to get collected here as well.
Yeah, it looks like the 29 David Dion just got sideways, whether he got hit or not. But this track is just so narrow that when one car's sideways, that takes up half the racetrack.
Now take a look at this coming by. Boy, this is an abusive race for sure. That's the 58 car being hauled in of Dale Williams. That one's not going to come back to run today, and just in front of it you see the 22 of Jeff Berry, who we just had a word with. Ralph has more.
We're with Patty Moise, and Patty, they've had to stop working on her car because of the red flag situation. Is this track getting real slippery? Is that the problem?
I don't know what the problem is. I didn't go up to the front, even though we were lapped down, because, you know, we had gotten in that first thing whenever they wrecked back there, and I couldn't miss them. They wrecked coming right off the first turn, and, man, you're hard in the gas, and you try to get in the brake, and the track's totally blocked. Well, so I stay at the back thinking, you know, find out what we got for our car now. They wreck again. It was like there was no safe place. I don't know what the problem was. Maybe they all watched the Winston last night.
Not quite the same purse, I don't think, Ken.
Not quite the same purse, but certainly the same amount of energy and the same amount of commitment. Wasn't that some race? I mean, PJ and I sat there. We couldn't believe that race last night.
Oh, I felt for DW. I mean, he was, you know, he looked like he had a good car underneath him. He was really running strong. He was going to stick it out there, and him and Earnhardt just didn't make it through turn 4.
Elton Sawyer, who was there last night, back here today, getting ready to go again, and there's his wife, Patty Moise, also ready to go in this Grand National event. We're going to take a quick break and be back under a red flag condition. Red came out with 38 laps complete. More from Nazareth right after this.
Today's exclusive coverage of the Meridian Advantage 200 on TNN is brought to you by Speed Stick by Menon. Like you, it never quits.
For more information about Featherlight Trailers, give you a call at 1-800-800-1230. Featherlight, that's the official trailer of NASCAR. Featherlight. Hey, don't forget Rick Benjamin tonight. He'll get you up to date on everything. That big drag race that you'll be seeing later on this afternoon, coming to you from Englishtown. Rick Benjamin standing by at 7 o'clock to update here, there, and everywhere in the world of motorsport. And on Sunday night is the only place to be. Hey, Chad Little is over there with Ralph Shaheen. Let's see what the story is with the guy currently number 2 in Grand National points.
Hey, you can see how torn up this race car is. Just the front nose, the left side of the car. The rear end is just as banged up. Chad, this car's been beaten and battered, and you've been playing catch-up with it all day. How bad is it?
Well, I think most of it's just cosmetic damage. You know, obviously the fenders and the quarter panels are beat off it, but to knock the toe off, we've gotten really lucky with these cautions following the wreck I was involved in because, you know, we've had time to adjust on it and work on it. So, you know, with the Busch tire rules, we've already used our set of tires. That kind of changes our strategy for the day. But I don't see any reason why we can't still, salvage a decent finish for Bear and everybody on the Mark Ritten team. It's just going to be a longer day. It's not the way we wanted it to turn out.
How slippery is this racetrack out there?
I mean, it's like it always has been. It's you just got to give and take, and coming out of some of these sweeping turns, nobody wants to do that. They're all no one wants to give anybody an inch, and so you make a little contact, and the rear end comes out from underneath you, and 3 or 4 cars are piled into each other. It's the same turn each time that it's happened, and it's a shame because they're tearing up a lot of really good race cars, and it's just good. It's hard racing, but you just got to give a little, take more.
Ken, I think that puts a button on that end of the story. Apparently, it is the driver's aggression and not the racetrack so much. And the tire roll that Chad was talking about, each team got 2 sets of tires, 8 total that they could put on their car during caution periods. Now, you didn't have to put the whole set on at once. You could do 2 one time and then 2 another time. But like Chad said, with all these yellows, they've used up their 2 sets of tires.
So there's the story on tires as we get down to, it looks like 4 or 5 minutes more under red before they're going to turn them loose again, PJ. Big crash in turn number 2. We'll take another break and show you again what developed out here to bring out a red flag in the 38th lap as we run the Meridian Advantage 200. Next Saturday on the Nashville Network at 6 o'clock Eastern, it's the Western Auto 200 live from I-70 Speedway in Odessa, Missouri. Exclusive on TNN Motorsports, the NASCAR Super Trucks going to be getting bad. Then tune in Saturday, June 3rd, 1995 for the GM Goodwrench Delco Battery 200 live Busch Grand National coverage from Dover, Delaware. It begins at 1 Eastern, and Sunday, June 4th, you'll get the Miller Genuine Draft 500. Live Winston Cup coverage from Dover, Delaware begins at 12 noon at that time. And hey, while we got a minute here, tune in to TNN. Coming up on May the 28th, that's the TNN Fast Track from Dover Downs, 30-minute special, which will lead up to our live race weekend in Dover. Great crowd out here today. Nazareth, Pennsylvania. Couldn't have better weather for a race. Just wish we had a race.
Yeah.
A red flag condition. Take a look at the Don Ling Auto Palace Valvoline car being picked up. They won the last time they came to Pennsylvania. They're running a Busch Grand National North. And Robbie Crouch flew to victory at Jennerstown, PA. Came here hoping the same kind of magic would hold on, but not to be. And the old Tampa native, now out of Georgia, Vermont, finds his car totally destroyed. Bad break for Don Ling and company, who were off to a good start this season. Now, again, in replay, on this second turn, which sort of folds away from you, it slops off. And if you get just a little off the line, you're in big trouble, as you see here. PJ?
Yeah, it's hard to say if the 50 car got into the back of the 29 David Dion or not. But just when one car spins, like we said before, just in the rest of the other accidents, it's just it's hard for everybody else to miss them. And I think Chad pointed out, you got to give and take. I feel for Patty Moise. I mean, like she said, she was just hanging out in the back to see if she still had a race car and gets caught up in another wreck. I mean, there's just some days as a race driver, you just cannot miss anything. You seem to always be in the middle of the action.
We should point out that this red flag condition is to clear turn 2. The drivers walked away from this big incident out there. There may be a few checkups, a few bruises, but nothing serious as far as the drivers were concerned. Real serious for the car owners. A lot of equipment getting scrambled just before they move on to Charlotte, North Carolina next Saturday for Grand National Racing.
Yeah, I think, the hardest part of these red flags right now is probably on the leader. Just sitting there, Hermie Sadler, just sitting there, maybe even David Green, and thinking, I want to get going. I want to, I don't want to sit here, but, it's just one of those things. Is the car going to be the same when I get back on the racetrack, or is it going to, have a push, or is it going to be looser? So, it's all going through their minds now. They're just sitting there waiting, and then hopefully they'll get the track cleaned up soon.
Well, there you see the cars waiting to get restarted here. Again, we're at lap 38 if you're just joining us. We've had lengthy caution periods in this first section of the race with P.J. Jones. I'm Ken Squire. Ralph Shaheen is here. And I want to talk to you about that second corner for just a moment, P.J. That is the one that seems to have a rotating apex. Wherever you go in turn 2, there's more to it. You just think, it's where you should be to get out of the corner, and there's still more corner in turn 2, and it also falls off. You're sliding as you come out. Oh, look at front and back of car number 0.
They got some work to do this weekend.
I'd say it's more than just the front and rear clip on that one.
Yeah, it's turn 2 is a corner that if your car is loose, it's going to be loose in turn 2 the worst. If you go down into turn 3, that's mostly where the car usually is tight there. And turn 1 is kind of give or take. You could be loose, you could be tight. But, you know, it's just a tough turn down there. And like it's so important to get off there real well because you're trying to get a run down the back straightaway and trying to get by somebody, you know, another car getting into turn 3.
It looks like Robbie Crouch's car was shortened up a foot and a half in the front and a foot and a half in the back. That was about as rough a piece of business as we've seen on any of them. Here's the running order. Running order at the present time as of lap 38 they're showing. Brought to you by Napa. Keep America running. Napa. And there are the standings as you look back through. Larry Pearson, Magic Shoes right there in 8th. Ed Barrier back. He's running 9th. There you see Fuller in 10th. Dale Shaw up there in 11th. Jason Keller to 12th. As we review the field for, they say there may be a few thunder showers around here before the afternoon is over. Jim Bound in 10th place in the standings. See, he's right up in there, showing the, 14th. Dodder's got some running. Bobby Dragon in 19th. Rodney Combs in that number 43. He was one sick puppy yesterday. Not feeling well at all and didn't feel very well when the race started. Got caught up in something. Kevin LePage was in an incident earlier and bounced off the wall. You see Chad Little way back in 30th. And we've got a ton of cars back in the garage area that are being administered to right now. What, a dozen cars at least?
They've wrecked some cars up. I mean, the crews are definitely going to be doing some work this week. I mean, when you wreck a car like this, it's you know, it's not just slap another fender on. It takes a lot of fabrication and some good guys at the shop to get these cars back together.
Well, we're showing of 38 laps complete. We've got 21. About 26 of those have been under the yellow flag so far, and there's going to be more to come to get this field back from a red condition. Hey, a guy that was a big story last night, and of course he's very involved in Grand National, standing by with Ralph Shaheen.
That, of course, would be Bobby Labonte, who did have a pretty exciting night last night. But you are a Busch Grand National car owner, and we're seeing a lot of torn-up race cars out here today. Front clips and rear clips are all going to have to be replaced before Charlotte for some of these guys. Can you give me an idea just how tough that is on the car owners? What does something like that cost to replace one of these front or rear clips?
Well, you know, when something like that happens, I mean, it's a good, you know, $6,000 to $10,000 once you put oil coolers and oil lines, or some situations, you know, brake blocks and motors, stuff like that, and crankshafts. But it depends on how hard you hit. But, you know, most of these guys have got short track cars here, so there's not their Charlotte car, you know, thank goodness for a lot of them. But, you know, it does get expensive when that happens, and you hate to see it for anybody, but, you know, today's one of those days, looks like.
It can also get expensive on the physical toll a driver's body takes, and you took a pretty good whack last night. How are you doing, and how's that going to affect you for the running of the 600 next week?
Oh, I'm fine. It's still, come up here this morning just to watch, and like I told Winston on radio a while ago and told you, hey, I've come down here to just look around. If they didn't have a red flag, you'd care less if I was here or not, probably. But I'm just out here walking around, just looking at things, and, you know, not sore at all or anything. So just have to go back next week and see what we can do.
Now, Bobby, don't ever be misunderstood. You are our favorite driver of all time on the Winston Cup Tour here at TNN, and everybody wants to talk with you, Bobby, so don't ever feel left out on TNN.
But you just told me you didn't like me. I don't even like you.
That was a heartbreaker for Bobby Labonte. You know, he had the pole. What a run that Joe Gibbs team made. Hey, I think we're just about ready to crank him up, get started again at the Meridian Advantage 200, Nazareth, Pennsylvania. Red flag about to be lifted.
Exclusive coverage of the Meridian Advantage 200 on TNN is brought to you by the more than 1,000 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts.
Race number 10 of 26, and you see the majority of them right here on TNN, where you can't get any closer. And right now, we've been close to 20 minutes, more than that, with a red flag condition in Nazareth, Pennsylvania, in the running of the Meridian Active 200 today. Boy, it has been active out here on the racetrack. They've punched holes or tried to in fences and sides of cars. A dozen cars are back. The latest incident had 5 cars involved in that wreck. They included Dave Dion, Robbie Crouch, Jeremy Mayfield, Patty Moise, and Dale Williams. They all seem to be okay. while we have a moment, I think we've got, what, another lap? They're going to show one, and we're going to go racing. We'll get back to Ralph Shaheen in a few moments. So just about set for start. Let's reset the field for you. David Green comes by, holding that first position. A correction. Hermie Sadler comes by in first. David Green in second. And then you have Fedewa running in third. Going for fourth will be Benson on this restart. And the fifth position will be Doug Heveron getting up in there.
They're showing Phil Parsons right now. They're going to run the modifieds right after this race, and Phil's just about ready.
There's the Luxair car, looking a little bedraggled. Curtis Markham is back in sixth. For seventh will be Larry Pearson. Light is off on the pace car. In eighth will be Mike McLaughlin. Running in ninth is Ed Barrier as they're coming up to speed. In 10th is Jeff Fuller. Top 10 as we get ready to race once again with 40 laps complete. 41 when they come by. Ralph Shaheen quickly on pit road.
Ken, there's some clouds that have been rolling in over the Speedway, and it's getting darker and cooler here, which should tighten up this racetrack. So the theory of the track being slippery should change even more, and that should make the handling even wilder for some of these drivers.
Green is out. We're back underway. And there is the possibility of a mid-afternoon thunder shower. That would really fix things. Sadler draws away in that #1 car. Qualified in fourth.
He's doing a good job. He seems like, by the short number of green flag laps he's had, it seems like, he has been the fastest car on the racetrack.
You can really see where they run downhill into this third turn. On the brakes hard, right there. Then it's wide open up this short straightaway, and if you're set up right, wide open through turn 1. Now here comes the tricky part, the second turn.
Yeah, Hermie Sadler's taking a good line through there. He's really working. He's a little on the higher side than you look back at David Green and Tim Fedewa. But he seems to have a good car at this early stage of the race.
Brand new car for Tim Fedewa in that 55 as he closes up on David Green. Remember, Green was on the pole, and no one has ever won this race from the pole position. 3 times it's been won from outside the front row. That's where Fedewa started.
Well, it looks like, Tim Fedewa, he's knocking on the door there with David Green. It looks like that he might be a little bit faster than David, and just, being patient, trying to get by.
Johnny Benson has his hands full out there.
Yeah, it's a battle for fourth place here with Benson.
Right with him comes the 35. Doug Heveron putting on a show. That Lipton T car getting moved around. I don't think that car is handling the way Benson would like it to do, but he's so smooth and he's so patient.
Yeah, he is, and he knows he has the point lead. He knows Chad Little's in the back of the pack, and he knows if he can score some more points, it'll really help.
Car 5, that's Jerry Marquis, that driver out of the Northeast. His car is on pit road for the moment at lap 43.
Well, there you see Johnny Benson going back underneath Curtis Markham.
And you see Larry Pearson making a move to the inside in the Stanley Tool car.
Yeah, he backed out of it a little bit. He didn't want to go down to the turn 1 2 abreast. Didn't quite have enough run on.
Cars you're watching right there, about 4 seconds back, 4 2/10 seconds from the leaders. For 44 laps complete this time, as Sadler continues to draw away. Green stays 20 car lengths back in second, followed by Fedewa. The 35 is finding its way up through and looking very stout. Doug Heveron having a great run. You saw him make that move that got him up into fourth. Nice to see him have a really good afternoon at Nazareth.
Once you see Johnny Benson got past the 63 car, he really started pulling out.
29 laps have been under caution thus far, and we're at lap 46. Tells you all you need to know about this one. Jeff Fuller in that blue and yellow, number 47.
Yeah, he got the battle for second place, heating up between David Green and Tim Fedewa.
Jeff Fuller, that blue and yellow Sunoco colored car, he's up to 10th position. Here's the battle for second place.
Tim's definitely faster. He just he hasn't planned his pass yet, and he's just trying to look for that open door or any little edge he can get. It looks like he might be trying to get a good run off turn 2.
Green continuing to stay. Those guys that sat in the front row following Sadler started fourth. less than a second separating the top 3 cars. Boy, Fedowa is chewing on the back end of Green.
He definitely is. He's definitely pushing him a little bit.
Heveron is closing up, and Benson, so smooth, he finds himself up into the 5th position. The mark in 6 goes to number 63, Curtis Markham. And staying 7th, that's Larry Pearson. 8th is Mike McLaughlin. The 9th position is still Ed Barrier. David Green's number 44 locked in this battle for 2nd. David Green, he loves this racetrack.
You know, this is my kind of track. You know, you got to have a good handling car, and I've got that with the Slim Jim car here this weekend. The Monte Carlo was awesome. Downforce where we needed. Got to be patient. I feel like I'm just as patient as anybody out there, but it takes a little aggressiveness too, you know, and I'm willing to do that. But Nazareth's a beautiful place. I tell you, we come here and it's like tabletop smooth, and we just enjoy it, and I can't wait to get out here today.
Well, he's out there now, and he's in a great struggle. Got himself 2nd place, and Fedowa with that new car trying his best to take it away.
Together, they look like they're pulling back up on Hermie Sadler. It looks like David Green in the last lap or so just seemed to found a couple tenths. He's drawing away from Tim Fedowa now.
You can see Heveron back about 25 car lengths from Fedowa in the 4th position. Well, we've gone 51. A quarter of the distance has been covered. Lengthy beginning to this one, but now it seems to stabilize, has a pace. Now you see the 23 and the 3. They've come up to 25th and 26th positions from 30th and 31st. Jeff Green in the 3 and Chad Little working their way through the field, and that badly rumpled number 23.
You can see Jeff Green just trying to work on Chad, trying to get by him.
Let's watch them right here as they go down that long straightaway into that hard-braking turn number 3. Chad seems to work a little better on the outside. Back to turn 1. Ooh.
They're running. You know, when you have 2 cars that are only a tenth or 2 apart, it's definitely hard to pass. It's hard here to pass a lap car.
Look at that move. How about that? Jeff Green in number 3, making an Earnhardt move. Gets himself another spot, and that will put him up to 30th and move Chad, rather to 25th, and move Chad Little back to 26. When they came out of that red condition, they were running 30 and 31. They've got a little catching up to do to find some more people and get them back into this race. So here's the leader, about to put a lap on that car number 9 of Rob Wilson. Used to see in the Barber Saab series.
Our action on
working lap 60 in the Meridian Advantage 200 from Nazareth, Pennsylvania, and a change of leadership. Take a look at how the field got scrambled. There you see Sadler in front. David Green sweeping into this hard-braking turn number 3, down to the inside. He's going to take the spot. He brings Fedowa with him. And Doug Heveron, right there, he scooted through as well. Got a new look on that board.
It looks like Hermie's car is just going a little bit backwards. It's not quite handling as good on the older tires than it was at the beginning of the race on the newer tires.
Indeed, that's the case, PJ. And now Benson, the number 74, has also passed Hermie Sadler. Sadler finds himself back in the 5th position and under challenge from Larry Pearson.
They're also coming into lap traffic. That's playing a big part of this race. While we were away, you know, a couple cars getting hung up behind lap traffic, and it definitely is a big factor.
Heveron having just an outstanding ride. You see him right behind the yellow and green number 55 of Fedowa. More on Johnny Benson's number 74, the point leader.
Hermie spun turn 1.
Oh, Hermie Sadler out of control and spinning out of 1. Goes down across the grass and into the entryway coming off pit road. He is clear of the track. There is no caution on the track, and Sadler is trying to come back on.
It looks like he just made contact with the inside wall down there and kind of wrinkled up the right front.
He's trying to get out there and get back in this race, and indeed, steady.
Boy, he was lucky there. He pulled right out in front of some oncoming cars at about 100 miles an hour.
So Sadler falls right out of the top lap. 44, David Green, stays up in front. You have Fedewa still in second and Heveron in third. And Benson is in fourth. And we can get more on the story of Benson from the pits right now with Ralph Shaheen.
This is Steve Bird. Birdie is Benson's crew chief. Now, Steve, how is your car? Is it right where Johnny wants it?
Show us.
Well, we got a little tight right now, but it all comes to you. You know, I'd like to say thanks to somebody, Mike Joy and Buddy Baker. They took a group on me to the ballet at the Leather and Lace here this week. So thanks, Buddy. Thanks, Mike. We appreciate it.
That, of course, is a payback from a joke last week that Mike pulled on you, but I saw your crew getting ready for pit stops. Are you going to stop at the next yellow?
Well, most likely. You know, the tires, we got 2 sets of tires. They'll go about 100 laps, but we'll just go with the flow and see what happens here.
Be careful what you say about Steve Bird, Ken. He will get you back.
Yeah. That Baker, boy, he has a unique schedule.
Looks like we got Hermie Sadler back in the pits, or in the pits. They got the hood open.
Take a look at what happened to Hermie out here as you're watching Johnny Benson 74. This is a replay on the one car.
Oh, he got into some lap traffic there.
Got himself caught up with Tom Bowles, who was the leading qualifier from Busch Grand National North. It tore up Bowles' car, as you can see in the back a little. Hermie ends up down here on pit road. This at lap 66.
Looks like they got some kind of extensive damage. They're putting jack stands underneath it and really taking a good look at it.
Down 3 laps. David Green leading. Fedewa in second, and Doug Heveron having himself a day in third. Stay with us here in the Meridian Advantage 200.
Today's exclusive coverage of the Meridian Advantage 200 on TNN is brought to you by Stanley. Since 1843, Stanley's been helping people do things right.
Nazareth, Pennsylvania. And right now, Tommy Bowles on pit road. He got caught up with Hermie Sadler, working on the back end of that car and taking on fuel. PJ?
I was just looking at the racetrack where we're at commercial, and it looks like Chad Little and Jeff Green, they're really coming through the pack.
Yeah, they're up to 23rd, and they look as quick as anything out here. That's the number 3 of Jeff Green and the Chad Little number 23. Now there you see 44. No one's ever won from the pole. That's where Green started today. Every time he comes to Nazareth, give him 3rd spot, or give him 4th spot. He's finished 4th in all 3 of his Nazareth appearances. And he's got himself almost a 2-second lead.
He really did a great job in traffic. I mean, he went through traffic like nobody's business there, and kind of put a gap between him and Tim Fedewa.
Hermie Sadler, I think Ralph Shaheen is trying to get him for us right now.
Ken, they're pushing Hermie back behind the wall.
Yellow is out. Excuse me, Ralph, but we have a caution on the track at lap 73.
Jeff Green and Chad Little are going to be liking this yellow. They needed it. They were the leaders were coming up on them. They were about a quarter lap behind, so this is definitely going to help them get back up there in the front.
That'll be something when they get a chance once again. Field gets spread out, much like a road course, very easily on this mile. And they'll have a chance to try to pick up some more spots when we get back under a green condition. Looks like we're in our 5th caution of the day. Now, for more on that Hermie Sadler story, again, here's Ralph.
Well, we're walking alongside of Hermie. They're pushing his car back to the pits. Hermie, what's wrong with it?
Well, I think when they did long extended caution before we got back going, I must have ran over some debris and started a tire going down. I guess the car was good until then, but you know, we started losing some track position, and I got let those guys by me waiting for a pit stop, and got hung up with a lap car, and I tried to go to the inside, and the man cut down on me. I'm not saying it's his fault, but trying to keep up, and he cut in front of me, and I spun out and hit the wall.
So suspension damage?
Yeah, we broke a lot of suspension parts. I just want to thank DeWalt people, Citco Chevrolet. these guys that stuck with me hard. We had a great car today, and like I say, once the tires started going in, I started fading, and then got hung up with a lap car, but that's racing, I guess.
Ken, one of the keys to the success of this car running better, Hermie told me they went back to basics, and that made a big difference in the performance of the DeWalt entry.
Well, there's the story on Hermie Sadler as to what brought out this caution. Maybe we can find out from Jason Keller's view in the Budget Gourmet Chevrolet here this afternoon. Take a look at that. As you see, pit road getting very active. Leaders are in. Green, Fidowa, all that crowd that were running up in front take this opportunity. Heveron comes in. Leaders are on pit road. And there you see David Green's number 44 looking for its second win of the season. Going all the way around.
It's to be a 4-tire stop for David Green here. A race to see who gets out of the pits first.
Only top 10 effort of the year. That seems almost impossible for David Green. Had such a good thing going last year when he won it at Nashville.
He gets back out first, so he'll stay in the lead.
Fidowa right there as well. Good scrap between those two. They started up in front, and they're not letting go of each other. Although David Green really did try to shake him. And look at McLaughlin. Oh, he's as hot as his sponsor today. The old French's mustard car has really cut some good laps. Former modified champion, he's due. Now here you see the 3, Jeff Green. Getting...
Chad Little stayed out on the racetrack, so probably to lead that lap.
He was getting back out on the track. He was on the exit road, and Chad Little stays out on the track. No bonus points, right? Just straight down points in Grand National. Let's take a look at what happened that caused the caution out here. We understand it. We can get from the Budget Gourmet car a gander at why we have a 5th caution this afternoon. There they are, turn 1. Somebody up in turn 2 on the outside.
Spinning, it looks like.
Spinning. Ends up against the wall. Sorry, folks, that's as much as we seem to have. We got a report on who went where? Can we get a report on which one went up into the wall up there in turn 2? Flying from here as you go down under that Goodyear Bridge. There's Tommy Bowles, number 76. We'll find out for you and be back. Here you see Kevin LePage's number 71. Boy, are they putting in some wedge. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us. Meridian Advantage 200.
Everybody thinks...
For Pennsylvania at lap 78, they've run 3 laps under green. We come back out of commercial. When we resumed the race, Chad Little had stayed on the track and was in the lead. He has now fallen back. And David Green has once again taken command of this race. The second spot belonging at the moment to Ed Barrier, then Chad Little into 3rd, and running 4th would be Tim Fidowa.
Yeah, Chad's just having a tough time. Like he said in the interview, you know, they're out of tires, so he stayed out. He had the same tires he ran that long run on, and, you know, he's just, everybody else has new tires on, and they're all going by him.
Tight running there. McLaughlin making a beautiful move on the inside and bringing Larry Pearson with him. That caution flag we saw, there was a little smoke as Jeff Fuller had tagged the wall, and we may have another one over there. Indeed we do, right in that same spot. Jeff Fuller kept on going. You see Dennis Setzer's number 59 parked on the inside. Hey, we're going to set a record for cautions here today.
That's just a tough quarter today. You know, it just seems to be, I guess, where everybody thinks they can maybe get by another car, or they get into a bunch and one car, you know, backs off the throttle or gets on the brakes a little quick, and the next car runs into them. I didn't see in particular what happened this time, but just a tough place on the racetrack this afternoon.
The last caution over there was Jeff Fuller. He did not have a problem that stopped him, but he threw some debris off his car onto the track, and that's what brought out that caution. This one is again for 2 cars. Setzer has crashed, as has the number 51, and that is Jim Baum, currently in 10th place in the points. Oh, that's unfortunate for Jim Baum.
Well, it looks like he's all right. That's the most important part of the whole thing. He's got his window in now and trying to unplug himself.
Let's hope that Dennis Setzer is all right as well. 3-car altercation, at least 3. A couple of them kept going.
But the Jim Bound car, it looks like it's going to stay there, and it is going to be out of this as he tries to stay up in the top 10 in points. Up. Difference of opinion about how to get around out there.
A little racing discussion there.
So, let's take a quick break, and we'll be back. Jim Bound, all right, after pounding the wall in turn 2 here at Nazareth.
Today's exclusive coverage of the Meridian Advantage 200 on TNN is brought to you by Pep Boys Automotive Super Center.
Now the wreckage from the 7th caution of the day. The record for cautions is 9, about 50 laps. That was a year ago. Looks like we're aimed for that one. Now, there you see Jim Bound coming back after that animated conversation with Dennis Setzer out there. Let's take a look at TNN's coverage of the NASCAR Super Truck Series by Craftsman. Coming up a week away, Odessa, Missouri, I-70 Speedway. Then July 29th, Topeka, Kansas. Craftsman. That's the Craftsman 100. Then it's the Stevens Beal 150 in Flemington, New Jersey. You ever been to Flemington?
Never been there.
Have a lot of fun, PJ, in Flemington. That is a racetrack. Sonoma, California, the Subway 100, October 7th. And then the Spears Manufacturing 200 from Bakersfield, your part of the world. And it'll wind up right where you want to live. Phoenix, Arizona, on October 28th to decide it all. P.J. Jones up there in the top 10 of those truck races. You haven't, hey, here's a guy, P.J. Jones, who's doing all that testing to bring back the American Eagle for Dan Gurney. That's the one hope for IndyCars. You get Gurney back out there, and you and Fangio even working like, okay, how can you go out there and run one of those fancy little 1500 things, then get out there and do that truck stuff?
Well, you know, the Toyota IndyCar project we've been testing all year long, and last year when I was doing some stock car stuff, you know, you jump in the IndyCar, you drive her down in the corner down about to the number 1 marker, and then you get in the stock car. You got to remember, reprogram yourself that you got to back off at the 4 marker. And I've gotten myself in a little bit of trouble that way. You know, you don't think before you get in the car what you're in, and you get down in that corner too deep. Oh, wait a minute, I'm in a stock car. I better slow this thing down. And,
a lot of guys can't make that conversion between those very, very light Indy type cars. You ran a lot of Indy lights and running the trucks or the stock cars.
Yeah, it's just the GTP car was the most difficult because you just ran it down in the corner so deep. And a lot of the places we'd go to the same tracks, like at Watkins Glen, I ran a Cup car at Watkins Glen. I ran the GTP car at Watkins Glen, and there I would drive it into 1 to the 1 marker, and then the stock car would be back to the 4 marker. So it really plays a game on your mind.
From Tomwater, Washington, you saw Dirk Stevens, number 64, the Duraloop Chevrolet there on pit road as they continue to work on that. Hey, this innovation in motion is brought to you by Peerless Faucet. Get more out of your faucet than just water.
Brian Smith is the crew chief for Tim Fedewa. Now, Brian, your team has developed a new flat track chassis. What's different about a chassis for a flat track as opposed to a chassis for a high bank track?
Over the winter, we called up Laughlin Racing Products and ordered up a new low snout car just for the flat tracks. It's been working so well. We're going to try it a few other places, but with the continued support of Little Joe's Auto Sales and Minolta, we've turned this team around since Daytona.
Is it how the chassis is set up, the geometry of the chassis that's different?
The roll center is just a little bit different on this car than the rest of them that we've been running. A few other people have been running them over the years. It's nothing real new.
Ken, he says this car's been real good today, but it's not as good on cold tires, so these cautions are killing Tim Fedewa.
Hey, I'll tell you what, this is a killer race. It's knocked off a lot of cars already. How does it feel to be part of a record event? We're setting a record, PJ. I know it doesn't feel like it, but consider this. The slowest race to date was 83 miles an hour in 94, and with 7 cautions so far, we're at 70.3.
Well, you know, a lot of these drivers are going to feel that on Monday morning. You know, some sore shoulders and some sore ribs, and a long week ahead of them getting ready for Charlotte's their next race.
I think the ghost of Buddy Baker is here today or something. Okay, 6 cautions today and a red. So, here comes the pace car with the light off, and we're ready to go racing. They'll take green again on lap 88, and when they do, it'll be David Green in first, and Ed Barrier will find himself in second. Tim Fedewa will be riding in third with the 4th position belonging to Mike McLaughlin. Holding on to 5th on this restart is the 92, and that's Larry Pearson. Going 6th will be Chad Little, and in 7th will be Johnny Benson Jr. Ralph Shaheen has Jim Bound, who was just involved in this incident, over in 2. Ralph?
Can you tell us what took place out there from your perspective?
Well, right from the start of the race, it was like they were trying to top the Winston Open. I don't know what the deal is, but Dennis ran in the back of me because we were all bunched up. And I tell you, I can't afford this. I'll probably be sitting Dover out now, and it's a shame because we got a good team and a good car. But I'll be back, and I tell you, these guys got to stop doing this because one of these days I'm going to lose the patience.
We thought they were very close, didn't we, PJ? We saw them out there in turn 2.
It must be something to do with the moon and the stars. They're in the wrong place this weekend.
It happens once a year everywhere, doesn't it? Elton Sawyer is in 8th position on this restart. Running 9th is Jason Keller. And up to 10th moves Bobby Dotter. Green is out. David Green seems to be back on track.
Yeah, he got a great jump again. He's real good at that restart. He's got a good gear, second or probably a second gear that's real good with a good jump at the start.
Took the pole for this race at 128.2. Fedewa hangs right in there. Remember, he started outside of that front row. That's a lap car between Fedewa and Green.
That's really going to help David Green get some time and pull away from Tim Fedewa, that lap car. So now Tim Fedewa has to go back by the lap car, and that's going to cost him a little bit of time.
That's Jerry Marquis' car right there? It is indeed. Caution is out. Would you believe it again?
They are going to set this record.
Pace car is on the track.
It looks like there might be some debris in one of the corners. It looks like in turn 1 there's a bumper lane.
Well, there's so many parts and pieces that are all beaten up on these race cars, it's hard to hold them on. They've got them taped and stapled and every other thing to get them on there. The pop rivets have popped, but not the way they wanted. There you see it. Somebody's looking for a piece of a race car out here to make a little difference and hold them down on the ground. Back in a moment. As they come around to complete the 94th lap in the Meridian Advantage 200, we'll take green once again. They just had Fredericksburg, Virginia's Curtis Markham on pit road and the first aid kit out for that one. He had qualified 6th for today's race. Looking pretty stout for a while. Curtis is back on the track and ready to go, and with this restart we have David Green in first. As he brings him down to the line, Tim Fedewa is in second, and sandwiched in between them is the lap car of Jerry Marquis. They're away and back under green after we had a brief halt in the action for debris.
The lap car got a little bit sideways there, and it's given a good opportunity for Tim Fedewa to get underneath him.
Yeah, Fedewa has a clean shot, gets himself up into that second position right behind the 44 now, as you see Marquis fade to the outside. Coming by to complete 94. The 95
we got a crash.
Big crash coming out of turn number 3 down to the start-finish line. It's the 47 of Jeff Fuller that gets thrashed, but he keeps going. He is rolling. He gets to the line, and he's got it fired. He's underway. We've got another one that's spun in turn number 1. That looks like car number 7 down there. That's Tommy. Huh?
That's Dale Shaw.
That's Dale Shaw's car. And he's underway. Yellow finally came out on that one. 2 spinning in the main straightaway. So what's the count now? Oh, bad break. Left front down. Chews up Jeff Fuller's hopes today.
Yeah, it's going to take him a little time to get back around with that left front flat. You know, one thing the leaders are just dreading is every time that we throw a yellow or they throw a yellow, is they got to line up right next to the lap cars. And when you're in 3rd or 4th or 5th spot, it really takes a toll because you just passed that car about 2 laps ago in the previous yellow.
Saw that tread coming off like a sidewinder snake from car, I believe, 47. Jeff Fuller, leading rookie contender, not having a good one here right now.
And he's just shredding tire as he's going by us. They're going to have to spend a little time picking up all the tire.
Let's take a quick gander down on pit road, see what's happening right now with Ralph Shaheen.
You talked a little while ago about the first aid kit for a race car. Well, there's no Band-Aids or Bactine in these first aid kits, but there are some important pieces. First of all, you got to have some good snips to cut away the sheet metal of the car if you got to get it away from a tire, for example. Big sledgehammers, key, of course, to get body work away. If you got to strap some of that body work down, two things will work. Either a tie strap such as this, bungee cords like this, and of course, you can do anything with it, duct tape. 200-mile-an-hour tape, as it's known. It can even hold maybe some headsets back together if you need it.
And has.
And a big box of Craftsman tools.
We're watching here, you're seeing the number 20. That is Joe Bessie in the Moroso car today. Boy, what a job he did in that truck in one of those early races this series. Bessie is a guy that I think you're going to hear a lot more from, but right now they're trying to get those fenders beat out and get him back in this thing.
There's a lot of talent in this Busch Grand National Series. I mean, you look at the past, and this is where all your stars have come from. Jeff Gordon being one of the latest, and Bobby Labonte, and there's probably 10 stars that you're going to see in Winston Cup right now in this field today, in the next year or two.
Looks like 18-wheelers have been running out here. Jersey Turnpike, parts of tires and pieces everywhere.
It's a demolition derby today.
It has been that, and we're almost at halfway. Very slow race in the 70-mile-an-hour category, but if you want action, boy, you can't find a better place than Nazareth, Pennsylvania this very afternoon. Hey, they're going to take at least another lap under caution before they turn them loose as Kevin LePage comes back in, and then we'll rejoin you with more of the story.
Exclusive coverage of the Meridian Advantage 200 on TNN is brought to you by Napa. We keep America running.
A lap away from going back to green, and that will be exactly halfway. 100 will be complete next time by.
It's a long 100 laps.
It is a very long 100 laps. On board with Elton Sawyer, who started in the 22nd position at the outset, just outside the top 10. Had a wild night down in Charlotte, North Carolina, before that packed house in the Winston Select. What a race on TNN last night.
He definitely didn't get very much sleep this weekend. I saw him come in the airport on Friday night. It was about 12:30, 1 o'clock, and he had to get up early the next morning. So I'm sure after this race he'll be wore out.
We're coming down through turn 3, getting ready for start. I think that Saturday night in Charlotte, mile-and-a-half super speedway is going to become just a national event. Time to come, something really special. Certainly it was for the 110,000 there last night. Off and running.
You can see inside Elton's car what it's like. It's just you don't know what lane to pick. The lap, you go with some of the lap traffics that have the lower inside groove, or go with a car that's on the lead lap on the outside groove. It's a hard decision sometimes.
He is up to 8. Elton Sawyer into the top 10 as you follow him through turn 3, and here he comes into the main straightaway across the line. Now watch him as he hit 1.
It looks like he's got that Ford credit card running real good. I mean, it's he's been in contention. He hasn't been overly aggressive. He's been real patient. I think he's going to be somebody we're going to have to look for at the end of the race.
Lap car of Jerry Marquis just in front of him, and you saw the 87 of Ron Teal on the outside. Elton picking his way through down that 35-foot drop into 3. Meanwhile, up in front, Fedewa for the lead.
Yeah, we missed the pass of Fedewa getting around David Green, but at the start, David Green took the lead, and while we were looking at Elton, we must have got back by.
We can show it to you folks and see that move that made Fedewa number 1 as he goes for that first win, and a chance to give a haircut to one of his buddies on the pit crew.
You got David Green just running up a little bit high, and Tim Fedewa coming out of turn 4 just picked him off, and he had to relinquish the lead to him.
Owensboro, Kentucky's Green showing the patience you need.
And those two cars are pulling away. I mean, they're definitely the two, it looks like the two fastest cars in the race. Although the third place car, I think, is getting held up a little bit by some lap traffic.
Ed Barrier in third, number 95 at the present time. Staying 4th. Mike McLaughlin, mid-race report coming up. Leaders, there have been but 3. Lead changes, there have been but 4. Average speed, but 75. But the cautions, 8 of them for 47 laps. For halfway, folks, that's a record. The Stanley mid-race report here at Nazareth.
Yeah,
an unusual one.
You can see Martin Truex is a lap down, and he's holding that barrier up a little bit, and that's letting the leaders pull away. And that's a tough situation also. I mean, you're trying to get by a lap car, and the lap car doesn't want to let you go by, and it's just something you got to be a little patient with.
I don't think I'd want to do that. Those barrier boys have a reputation for getting through traffic that won't move over. Speedway stays
Yeah,
first.
he did it too. You're just right, but he got himself in trouble.
Well, they're still trying to get it sorted out. Not completely. Larry Pearson in the 92 getting caught up. Chad Little misses the bullet. And you see Mike McLaughlin down there on the entry road back out of turn 2 area of the Nazareth Speedway.
Yeah, Barrier, he was getting impatient. He was getting upset with the lap car that was in front of him that just wouldn't let him by. And it's, you know, it's sad to see that, you know, the lap cars not get out of the way of the leaders.
You do need to give them some room. Your day will come. 106 on the board. 9th caution of the day. Are we in record country here? Believe so. Well, up in front, Speedway, these guys, they're having it kind of easy out there.
They are, you know. It's I think Ed Barrier was pretty fast. And it's unfortunate that he couldn't get past the 56 car, and they made contact, and he got caught up in his own wreck.
Martin Truax is 56, and let's take a look at exactly what happened in turn 2.
It looks like going into turn 2 that the Barrier was almost underneath the 56, and he didn't quite see him, or his spotter didn't call out, and just started coming down, and they made contact.
See Ed Barrier's yellow and black, red numeral number 95, fighting for control as it came out of number 2. And this is a track under these conditions where you need 2 spotters. Here's what Jason Keller in the budget gourmet car saw.
A lot of smoke in cars.
Hold on.
It looks like he got through it pretty good unscathed.
Yeah, that rumpled hood is from much earlier, folks.
Oh, Chad, it looks like Chad didn't get through it very well.
Not completely.
Well, at least he already had damage on that part of his car from earlier.
He's got damage on every part of his car from earlier. 107 are complete. We're going to take a break. Looks like Chad's pretty well busted up out there. We'll see what's going to happen with 23, number 2 in points, when we come back.
Welcome back to the Meridian 200 as activity has been awfully busy down at pit road. Johnny Benson has come in and made a stop. He thinks that this is the last time they will have to stop here today. It's going to be awfully tight. They think they can make it. Mike McLaughlin's had his car in and out of pit road quite a few times. They're making some adjustments to that car. They continue to make adjustments to Chad Little's machine as they try to get that entry up to speed here today. Larry Pearson in the Stanley Tools car, they're making some adjustments to that. That is another machine that has been beaten and battered here today. The tow out has been knocked out a little bit. Brian Pemberton and his crew working feverishly on that entry as well. Just about everybody else ready to go racing. Hermie Sadler has returned to the racetrack. They've got the number 1 car back together. Johnny Rumley, however, is back behind the wall, Kid.
Johnny Rumley back behind the wall. Beside whoever has the franchise on duct tape here today, boy, are they in business. Well, here you see Hermie Sadler back on pit road another time in the DeWalt car. Ran a strong 5th at Atlanta back in March. Had that 2nd up at Hickory. Things not going his way today here. But things aren't going well for anyone except Speedway and David Green, who are having a swell day. So if a driver posts his first career win here today, it will be the 2nd time this year. Chad, of course, getting his first win down at Daytona. He's still in that lead lap. Let's take a look at what Elton Sawyer saw of this last incident from the Ford credit car. Getting ready for a restart here, but quick check on that last incident.
Traffic and the smoke.
And Elton Sawyer, in the number 38, continues to come up through the field. He's now in 3rd. Remember, he was the runner-up in Loudon last week. Did you watch that race on TN? What a great show, PJ.
I know we were, that was the day we were running Super Trucks at Monroe, and so we were trying to get ready to practice and qualify.
Yeah, sure. We saw you there that night, but we got a chance to go down to Loudon and just sit in the grandstand and watch that one. What a show.
That's a beautiful facility.
Isn't that a great facility?
They've done a great job. put that track together.
And, of course, you'll see the Winston Cup event from there right here on TNN later this year. So, we're at lap 112. We're back underway for a lap or two here. As you look at the standings and the Napa board, back through the field, and as you look up in front.
Oh, we got an accident again.
Oh, I spoke too soon.
Right off turn 2.
And look who's in the midst of that one.
The 3.
Yep, Jeff Green is there. And Rodney Combs, the 43, got beaten up. There's McLaughlin. He's down on the inside. He's torn up.
And that's unfortunate. Jeff Green was driving a heck of a race. I mean, he was really doing a great job in that Goodrich Chevrolet. Coming from the back, he was being patient, and he was fast.
David Dion's car, and Larry Pearson is in it as well, big time.
I think he was one of the only cars out there that didn't have a mark on it.
Not true any longer. You see Robbie Reiser's car there. That's the 17. There's McLaughlin's car up against the wall. There's Larry Pearson right in the middle of it. Somebody moving just on the outside. We'll try to identify that for you.
Looks like Mike McLaughlin probably got the worst part of that whole mess up there. I mean, he's hit the wall with just about every end.
Well, they hit that turn 2 wall with everything. At least we know they make good concrete down here in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Good.
And Pearson, he's going to need some of them Stanley tools this week.
Dirk Stevens, 64. Got a couple of replays of what happened on this one. Gee, that's a bad break for Stevens in the Duralube Chevy. Looks like Jerry Marquis got dumped in there. Remember, he was a lap down. That's where it started, and then it went on.
That for the lead lap drivers, that's the hardest thing is on the restart. You have all the lap down cars on the inside, and you're back there about 5th or 6th, and you got to try to get by them for a 2nd time or a 10th time or 13th time like we've had today, Ken.
At the 200-mile level of this race, that is a record. You see McLaughlin walking away. He is not happy about this. And right with him comes Dirk Stevens, that great racer out of the Northwest. Bad day for him as well. Another look at it.
Yeah, it's hard to say what triggered it. We just didn't quite get it early enough to find out what, who got loose or tapped to see what caused the accident.
Again, it's negative camber out of there. The track falls away the wrong way. You're totally blind as you come in. Dirk Stevens in the red uniform, and there's the great modified champion Mike McLaughlin stepping off the track. So we'll take another break and come back and see what gets busted up the next time. It's the action-packed Meridian Advantage 200 on TNN this afternoon.
Today's exclusive coverage of the Meridian Advantage 200 on TNN is brought to you by Speed Stick by Menon. Like you, it never quits.
Full contact racing, stock car racing, old-fashioned style at Nazareth, PA. Bad break for the Stanley Tool folks. They showed up in hundreds for the race up in Loudon the other day. So proud of their car, and there's a good number of them here today as well. There you see the Jerry Marquis number 5 car. It got spun as well. Dave Dion's car is also on pit road, as is Robbie Reiser's automobile, and we're getting at least another lap before we turn them loose. 1:18 when they come around next time. There is that 64, Dirk Stevens. Boy, I feel badly about, and there's the 43.
Well, we've definitely got some tore up equipment this weekend, don't we?
A lot of repairs to Dirk Stevens, who qualified 8. And been running for years out there in the Northwest with that Duralube Chevy, the Shoemaker car from Maryland. And his 23rd Busch start, and it sure ended in a manner other than how he would have wished. 1:18, there it is, the 64, the Duralube car coming in.
There we go. We got Jeff Green. It doesn't look like he's hurt too bad. I mean, it looks like he's got a dent right in the door, but from that angle, it doesn't look like, maybe he'll still be as fast as he was before he got caught up in the crash.
Yeah, and last week up in Loudon, he just dominated that thing. He was looking so strong before falling out of the hunt. He ended up 14th in the race, but that was a real stout run, and it looked like he was on a roll. Instead, he's just trying to roll around and miss all the hand grenades going off out here.
Yeah, watching him last week, and he was very impressive. And I don't know that dent in the hood's going to hurt his performance here that bad. I mean, it's still got the bottom part of the car intact, and that's mostly the most important piece around here.
Got another lap under caution. Let me talk about Opryland USA for a moment, the official destination of NASCAR. For more information about Opryland USA, 1-800-774-8504. If you like racing, if you like country music, you're going to love Nashville, Tennessee. Opryland USA. Hey, while we're under caution, how's your brother? How's Paige?
Paige Jones is doing, he's doing a lot better. He just steadily makes that progress, and they've told us and warned us, hey, you guys got to be patient because it's going to take a while for him to heal. But, if everything goes right, we're just hoping and praying he'll make a full recovery. And there's no reason at this point that he can't do that. And he's, starting to talk and say some words. And he's starting to, we walked him down a hall the other day holding on to me and just steadying him. But he actually takes the steps himself. So he's doing really, really well. And I just encourage all the fans to keep sending those cards and letters and get well cards. He can really use that. He really understands what's going on. He's just, he needs to keep doing his therapy and keep working hard. And, I think, maybe we'll see him back out here.
Well, I think all of America feels the same. The Parnelli-Jones family is American racing, a lot of it. How is it for you with a brother that got as badly hurt as your brother did last September over there at Eldora in that sprint car?
It's very tough. I try not to let it affect me at the racetrack. That's hard to say. That's your brother. That's your own blood out there. But, it's just, I don't feel it's affecting me in the race car, but it's hard not to think about it. And I've been trying to keep myself busy and traveling a lot and working on the truck and stuff like that. And it's unfortunate because we do so much traveling with the truck series that, I end up spending a lot of time away from home and not being able to go down and see him. And I think it really helps him when I'm there because I can really encourage him and help him get well.
P.J. Jones on the subject of his little brother, Paige, and you'll see P.J. next week here on TNN in action once again, those Jones boys. Okay, I think we're still a lap away. Ralph Shaheen, he's got one of the top Grand National stars, and maybe they can fill us in on this.
That's Magic Shoes, Mike McLaughlin. You are able to walk out of the care center. I take it you're okay. Tell me what happened out there.
A couple cars up. Somebody got turned sideways. I see it starting to happen. Kind of checked up, and then they just turned around, and French's Mustard, Black Flag Chevrolet, not looking too good right now.
How tough is it going to be to get these cars all put back together between now and when you start getting ready for the Red Dog 300 down in Charlotte next week?
Well, thank God we don't run that car at Charlotte. It's tore up pretty good. We've got a car ready to go for Charlotte. We'll just have to do the best we can next week.
Mike McLaughlin's okay today.
Neat guy. Tremendous racer. Hey, if we want to send a postcard or a general card, where do we send it if we want to send one to PJ?
Well, I don't have it
to Paige.
To Paige. I don't have it offhand, but you can send them through USAC.
In Indianapolis, Indiana, United States Auto Club.
Right, and he's at the Casa Colina Rehab in Torrance, California. So,
can you spell Casa Colina?
No, I can't.
Neither can I. Anybody up here? Okay, on to another subject. Casa Colina. Hey, we'll ask Ralph Shaheen. He knows everything. Ralph?
Yeah, Ken, we got Larry Pearson down here with us. How are you doing? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. Sprained my wrist a little bit, but I'll be okay.
You see, they got it taped up here a little bit. Is there anything you got to be worried about for next week?
Pardon me?
Anything you got to worry about it with it for next week at Charlotte?
No, I think it should be okay then.
Well, there's the story. He looks like he's okay for next week. Here's the story as we get ready to go with 121 complete. Light is off on the pace car. And out in front, as they bring them by, it'll be Fedowa first, Green in second. Maintaining third to the flag will be Elton Sawyer, followed this time by, it'll be Bobby Dotter right there in fourth. He's been moving up through the field and beginning to make his way felt here. Jason Keller will be holding the fifth position. In sixth is Doug Heveron on the start, and showing seventh is Tommy Houston as we go on board. In the eighth position is Joe Bessie. How about that from the budget gourmet driver? That's Jason Keller. Best to his mom. Crowd is back on their feet. On board with Elton Sawyer looking over there at the four car of Kelly Moore as they come down the line. The tic-tac looks like it has been tacked several times into the wrong wind.
Well, looks like the first two cars got out to a great start. Tim Fedowa and David Green. They both got past the lap car.
So we're away at lap 122. This was a 500-miler the way they're tearing them up today. Tim Fedewa has this mechanic named Deal's been a lifelong buddy. Likes long hair. They all got on him and said, if Fedewa does it today, you're going to get scalped in victory lane.
He's looking pretty good right now, isn't he, Ken?
Yeah. Looks like we may have a bald-headed member of that pit crew for Charlotte. Look at Alton Sawyer. So smooth. Such a dependable racer. Riding with Alton today in that Ford credit car machine.
He's just steadily moving up the pack. You know, every caution he gets a little bit closer, a little bit closer. And, you know, Fedewa and David Green got to be, you know, concerned about how fast is he. You know, at this point in the race, we're coming down to the last 75 laps, and he's right up in there.
Pretty good space on these front cars now. Alton Sawyer setting third with 124 laps complete. This time by, we'll have Elton take you for a trip around this track. How about right now? Let's try it on the next lap. Here he is going down that back straightaway. Remember, you're riding in third place. Tim Fedewa continues to lead with David Green in second. And we'll go to Alton Sawyer. Can we do that now? All right. As he moves around the Rodney Combs car and comes to the line. How about it, Elton?
There's a trial. We're just past the start-finish line. We're down on the ripple strips as tight as we can. A lot of throttle, accelerate off, up against the wall. We go into turn 2 or 3. I'm not real sure what it is, but it's a long sweeping turn before the back straightaway. Very critical. Need to get the car turned in the middle so you can use a lot of throttle, so you can use that speed down the back straightaway. We get into a fairly slow turn, and it's turn 3. Hard braking, left-hander. You're backing the throttle extremely hard, kind of uphill to the start-finish line. And that's about 28.5 seconds.
Hit it right on the nickel. Alton Sawyer, who won at Myrtle Beach last year and becomes a real contender at lap 126 this afternoon, PJ.
He's looking good. I mean, you can see he's still keeping the race car down on the racetrack. He's right on the rumble strips. You know, he's still got that low groove. So, I mean, that's a good sign that the car is, you know, is pretty decent for him.
But those other two are beginning to check out here. Fedewa and Green have pulled away by about 15 car lengths all of a sudden.
I'm not sure that the lap or so ago when we were talking to Elton that one of those lap cars did hold him up a little bit, because he looks awful strong.
Well, let's see if he can do anything about muscling his way back up on top here. Bobby Dotter stays right in there in 4th position. There are the two leaders. And there's Bobby Dotter. Started 33rd today, and he stormed up into 4th. The 57 car. Jason Keller, 5th with Alton Sawyer.
You can see Elton. I mean, he's just not moving that steering wheel a whole lot. I mean, it seems...
There's Jason Keller giving you those shots from the budget gourmet car, now in 5th position. Well, those cars are all rumpled up. Both Jason Keller and Alton Sawyer have suffered abuse, but they're staying up in those top 5 positions. Doug Heveron, who run in the top 3 for some time, he's back in the 6th position, and in the 7th position is car number 6, Tommy Houston.
Tommy, he's been around a while. Busch Grand National Racing.
Such a good name, and such a great racer.
It's better. It's nice to see that he's having a good run here. I know they've struggled a little bit through the last few races, and you know, it looks like they're having a good race. They've stayed out of a lot of the trouble.
There you see the leaders. Boy, will Michigan get to celebrate today? Fedewa was trying to do that. 13 cars, you see, on that lead lap. And David Green right there, looking Fedewa over.
Yeah, the first two are definitely pulling away from the third place car, Alton Sawyer. It's split-wise. They seem to be pulling about 2 or 3 tenths a lap.
There you see the front two.
And here comes that third-place car. And you can see that they have separated themselves from Elton Sawyer. It's about 4 6/10 of a second now.
There's still a lot of time left, though. We're only down to the 133rd lap of 200, so, he's still got a lot of time, and he still might be waiting and trying to conserve his tires.
Hey, we've gone 11 laps without a caution. We've got a new record out here this afternoon, PJ. Hey, there's Tommy Houston's number 6. He's the only driver in today's field to start all 8 Busch Grand National Series events here at Nazareth, PA. Not only a great starter, but a darn good finisher, this guy, Tommy Houston. You can see he's been out there bashing and thrashing this afternoon.
Yeah, he's got that Red Devil Ford working really good today. I mean, he's stayed out of trouble for the most part, and he's right there in contention. You can see him just going by a lap car and coming up off turn 4.
He needs to find himself a little running room here because he's about to get overtaken. Just behind him is Jeff Fuller. And Fuller in the 47. Definitely looks like he has some speed on that car. Again, back with the leaders. Here's Speedway, and he's drawing away. He was so excited about the engine program they had. Said he thought it was all coming together. It was really up to him, and that with the experience he's amassed, that this could really be his day. His confidence level throughout the week has been right up on the top. And, of course, ducking all these incidents has been the key to this race so far.
Right. You can see how much of a lead the first two have. A whole straightaway down the back straightaway lead.
Let's go to Ralph Shaheen.
Tony Lambert is the crew chief for Bobby Doddard. 33rd to 4th. That's quite a run for you today. Can you keep it going? What's the story with this car?
I think we can keep it going. We started in the back. We had a bad qualifying run, and we just made a major change this morning, hoping it worked. And so far, it's done pretty good. And I'd like to thank all these guys while I got the chance to. They've really worked hard. I mean, we've got 3 weeks worth of work with these guys. It's kind of like a new team.
Was the change in the suspension area? What did you do?
Yeah, we made a lot of suspension changes this morning. Yesterday, we were pretty much out of luck. It was, I mean, we were about the slowest car here, and today we're running up front.
PJ, every time you make a suspension change like that in the morning, it's really a guessing game, isn't it?
It sure is. That's things you don't like to do. You don't know what you have when you start the race.
Good three-way contest continues around this mile track at Nazareth, Pennsylvania. Back to the line, the 35 for the moment. Doug Heveron is making his weight felt. Elton Sawyer is right in there. Bobby Doddard in this three-way contest. 08, that's Bobby Doddard. 38, that's Elton Sawyer. And the 35 car, well, that's the guy named Doug Heveron, who continues to be a spoiler throughout this event. Again, Jason Keller gives you the view of what you do and do not see on this track. And that's a lot of the story, because you are blind in 2 corners, and at the speeds they're reaching, by the time you reach for the pedal, it's over.
Those in-car cameras have really, brought the race fan closer to the racing. I mean, it's just amazing. Now the race fan can feel like he's right in there with the race car, with the driver, and it's really interesting to see, even being another driver, looking at, somebody else's style, or the way they hold the wheel, or, the way they do some certain things, and watching tapes of in-car cameras is quite interesting for us.
Doug Heveron has moved around Elton Sawyer. Bobby Doddard has fallen back into the 5th position. Maintaining the 6th spot is Jason Keller, with whom you just took a lap. And then back in 7th is Tommy Houston. Maintaining the 8th position, Joe Bessie is there. Lap 147. How good is David Green? Watch this. You see Kelly Moore's car number 4, the Tic Tac, coming out. Watch this in the main straightaway, about 135 miles an hour. Fedewa, 55, in front. Green in 2nd. Gets brushed going into turn number 1. It throws Kelly Moore into a 360. and David Green just kept right on trucking.
Boy, I tell you, that's one of those deals where you just hold your breath and say, "Here, please, Lord, help me out."
David owes him one on that one, I'll tell you. Great piece of driving by David Green.
It cost him some time. I mean, he was right up on 10 feet away. Now he's back about 10 cars or so.
Yeah, he took a solid hit, and he was able, and going into that turn 2, it's so difficult. And you can see the interval, how much it separated as Speedway continues to try to make it into the victory circle for the first time. Hey, talking about trucking, I understand that Hermie Sadler is now talking about contending against you. Ralph, did you have that story about him running 4 or 5 races this year?
That's correct, Ken. Hermie Sadler is going to run 5 Super Truck races this year. The first one is going to be at Milwaukee, which will be in conjunction with the Busch Grand National cars on 4th of July weekend.
It's just getting more popular and more popular, isn't it? It's just amazing that a series like the Super Truck Series could start about this time last year in exhibition races and end up being a strong 30-car field.
And if you viewers haven't seen it,
Truck field, because that's $1 right
Truck
there.
field. If you haven't seen it, don't forget, I-70 Speedway, Odessa, Missouri, next week. You'll never get closer than with TNN. So 150 laps are complete. Do you believe it? We've finally made 3/4 of the route. There you see Elton Sawyer, and Bobby Dotter is coming right back after him as the red carpet leasing car looks out the back, and you see Dotter, the Illinois campaigner, coming after him. Nazareth, Pennsylvania is where the action is today. Grand National race number 10 of 26 in the 1995 campaign, and this has been a doozy. If you're just joining us, we've had 10 cautions to date. That's a new record for the 200-mile distance. You can see the clouds rolling in. They said we might have a thunderstorm before the day was over. We said not a chance. We'll be out of here by, at least 3:15, 3:30. Wasn't that what you said, PJ?
Yeah, this has been a picture-perfect weekend here in Nazareth,
You're going to miss your bus back to California.
Yeah. Mine won't leave without me. After we've got all the cautions out of the way, we're having a pretty good run here, a long run. This is going to really affect some of the strategies. We saw Johnny Benson go in at about the 108th lap mark, and it'll be interesting to see his strategy and how it plays out.
Benson is running in 7th. Running in 8th is Jeff Green.
And those two have been coming right up through the traffic. I mean, they were back in 12th, 13th just a few laps ago, and they've just watching the tower scoreboard. They've just been steadily climbing up. So they need a yellow and get bunched back up.
9th is Fuller, and in 10th is Joe Bessie. 154 now being shown. Well, there hasn't been a blemish put on that Speedway car yet. Totally unscathed through this first 3/4 distance in which everybody has been bruised. He's finished 7th. The last 2 years at Nazareth in his only 2 previous appearances here. Tim Speedway from Holt, Michigan, who qualified 2nd for today's race, is now out in front.
Yeah, we're looking right out of the back, right out of the front of the car, and looking at the back of Johnny Benson's Lifton T car, and he's quick. It'll be interesting to see if we get a yellow here later in the race and see how he compares to Tim Speedway and to David Green. I think both of those guys have to make stops, and I'm not sure that Johnny Benson does.
Jason Keller and Jeff Green having this scramble. That's for 7th position. Number 3, Green, Jason Keller in the Budget Gourmet car trying to chase him down. It's a heck of a note to leave your mom if you've been watching this race today. I imagine her hair has turned gray considerably in those first 100 laps of this one, TJ.
Oh, yeah, 10 feet away. Major traffic, lots of traffic. I mean, this is what David Green wants to see and Tim Speedway does not want to see because, if he gets through it well, though, that might help him put a little bit more space on David Green. But it's a tough situation, especially when you're leading, because it's easier to go through traffic as a second-place car than it is a first-place car.
Saw a little lift. Remember, he's running a couple of laps down and move over. Bob Dragon right there. We can get word on the condition of Green's car right now from Ralph Shaheen.
We're with Charlie Smith, who is David Green's crew chief. Charlie, how's your car?
I said the car's real good right now.
No problems at all. We're running the same as the leader. We lost a little ground to him on a lap car, but looks like we're holding our own.
Can you go all the way, or do you got to stop?
I'll tell you what, if it stays green, we won't stop, but if we get a caution, we're going to have a serious decision to make because it's that close.
Don't forget, guys, Steve Burr told us that he thinks Johnny Benson will not have to stop. They have fueled up once, and they're going to try to go all the way.
Well, Fedewa stays out in front, and he's handling this lap traffic magnificently. Here you see Benson, the number 74. Benson running in fifth spot. Fedewa up in front. Around lap traffic as he dives beneath car number 9 of Rob Wilson, and we'll be back with more 160 complete in the Meridian Advantage 200. Advantage 200 at Nazareth, Pennsylvania. Stay tuned for the NHRA Today live from New Jersey. That's coming up following our race, which is running over a bit. And then Win with Rusty Wallace, his show here on TNN. And don't forget tonight, 7:30, Race Day will give you the entire picture of the entire Motorsports Day. How they qualified at Indy, what's gone on here in Grand National, the drag race. It's all in there tonight with Rick Benjamin here on TNN. So, the situation is David Green stays out in front. Or rather, Tim Fedewa stays out in front. David Green stays in second by 0.6 of a second. They both have wheeled around through that lap traffic, and there you see Green closing in another time, PJ.
Yeah, you know, I'm not sure if David Green is just sitting out there. You know, he's driving with patience. He's driving with confidence. He's the last year's champion. He's got, you know, wins under his belt. You know, he just, he looks like he's really got the situation under control, and I'm not sure he's not trying to put a little pressure on Tim Fedewa, who hasn't won a Busch race yet, and is trying to make his mark in the series and see if he can't make Tim make a mistake.
But with the amount of time left, there's still room for John Benson, Mr. Smooth, to make his move and get back into this thing. He's back there in fourth, running just behind the Doug Heveron car.
Yeah, it'd be real interesting to see if we get a late race caution about maybe 10 or 15 laps to go with Benson on about 20 laps newer tires, and see, you know, what kind of effect that'll have on him and the rest of the field.
Johnny Benson has been picking it up. Remember, he was 7th or 8th. He keeps on clearing cars, and he's up into the 4th position. Jeff Green is now in 5th. Elton Sawyer has fallen back into 6th. Doddard is 7th. And 8th is Jason Keller. The 9th position belongs to Jeff Fuller, and rounding out that top 10, the 20 car of Joe Bessie.
And Jeff Green is right there, you know, coming up the pack with Johnny Benson. He's been right there with him the whole time. Here we have David Green, just, you know, being patient, being calm, and driving his race. It looks like Tim might be, you know, getting away from him a little bit, but you know, we'll just have to see. We still got a lot of laps left. We got 30 laps to go.
Ralph Shaheen.
Ken, a quick update for you about Tim Fedewa. He's got a couple of things in his favor here today. Joe Falk, who is a good friend of his, a big fan of his, gave him a gold dollar piece, which he's carrying around with him today as a good luck charm. And I think that's paying off for him a little bit, as well as the fact that his car owner, Diane DeWitt's getting ready to have a birthday tomorrow. And she said the best present Timmy could give her would be a win here today. So he's got some added heat. Johnny Benson Jr. is being very, very patient. He's watching that gas gauge and saving those tires. He's going with the fact that these other cars are going to have to pit before this is over. And finally, Jason Keller's mother, Diane, was in the hospital earlier this week suffering from some sort of a virus. She's feeling much better, was supposed to be released today, and a good run by her son, Jason, who's currently 8th, will really help that recovery process.
Yeah, he's giving her some vitamins. He's right up in the top 10.
Yeah, the 74 and the 3, they've been battling all the way through the pack. I mean, they've come from the very back of the lead lap cars, and they're all the way up to 4th and 5th. And I think Tim Fedewa and David Green will be happy if they don't get a yellow flag, because these two guys right here could be a big factor in this race.
Benson leading in points. There you see him. And right with him comes Jeff Green in the black number 3. That is 4th and 5th. Elton Sawyer now being shown 6th, Doddard to 7th, 8th is Fuller. 9th remains, ninth is Fuller, and in the 8th position right now is Jason Keller. $173.
I see Dale Earnhardt kept that number 3 car black in this series. I don't think he want any more part of that silver stuff after last night.
Boy, he and Walter. Show you some more of that tonight on race day with Rick Benjamin. What a story on that last 10-lap shootout. There's your leader, number 55, Fedewa, this afternoon. We're going to take a break and be back to Nazareth, Pennsylvania for more of this Grand National action as Tim Fedewa gets closer and closer to his first career win. Can he do it? We'll see. 24 laps to go in the Meridian Advantage 200 Grand National Stock Car Race here in Nazareth, Pennsylvania. For the moment, Tim Fedewa has the advantage. His best finish today, 4th, twice. Martinsville, and then this first race of the season at Atlanta, Georgia. Fedewa, who comes out of a racing family, his grandfather, Willie, was some kind of racer up in Michigan, and his grandmother, she chaired the business of keeping that car on the track. So if it stays in the family today and gets his first win up around Holt, Michigan, there's going to be some excitement. And there will certainly be some excitement for Brian Smith, the crew chief, and Diane and Ray DeWitt. The Minolta Ford looking very good still as we get down toward 20 laps to go. But the issue, as so many times, is fuel. What do you think, PJ?
I don't know. You know, it's hard to say. I know Johnny Benson should be all right. I don't know about these first 2 cars. And I think they better hope they don't have a yellow. Tim Fedewa, unless he's short on fuel, better hope that he doesn't have a yellow, because I think there's some cars in the back of the pack that is as fast as he is, and it'd be interesting to see if we did. We'll have maybe a 20-lap or 15-lap or even 5-lap shootout. But you know, he's in control right now, and if it stays green, if anybody has anything for him, they better get with the program, because laps are winding down, and you know, he looks like he's in control.
Now, you see the interval continually between the 55 of Fedewa and Green and 44. Then it's 8 seconds plus back to that 3rd place car. 8 seconds back to Doug Heveron. Close to him is Johnny Benson in the 74 running 4th, followed by Jeff Green in 5th. And then the 6th place car of Elton Sawyer with Donner in 7th. Now there you see the leader, the yellow and green, Minolta Ford.
Right, I think, you know, the first 2 cars are pretty safe. They're going to be 1st or 2nd, each one of them. So unless we have a yellow, you know, it's going to be one of those guys who are going to be the winner. You know, the guys in the back, they're just sitting there praying for a yellow flag.
Well, we'll see whose prayers are going to be answered very shortly. About 19 laps to decide this one. The 35 car rests in 3rd, and it now is just 8 seconds. It's picked up a little time on those 2 leaders.
Yeah, the interval between the 1st and 2nd car, Tim Fedewa and David Green, is going back and forth from you know, 2 to 10 or 8 seconds, just in lap traffic. You know, it's making a big part. When Fedewa comes up on lap traffic, he loses some time, and then when he gets by it, he gains some time back on David Green.
Watching that modified ace from New York, Doug Heveron, who started 10th today, now working in 3rd spot. There's Fedewa continuing to lead. Again, an update from Ralph Shaheen.
Brian Smith is Tim Fedewa's crew chief. Can you go all the way, Brian?
It's going to be real close, but I think we're going to make it.
How close is it really? Is it going to be a fumes issue?
Yeah, it is.
PJ, it's got to be very difficult when you've been running hard all day, and now they're telling you to back out of that throttle to ease out, but yet you look in that rearview mirror and you see the 2nd place guy right behind you.
Yeah, if I recall, you know, they've Benson and, I mean, not Benson, but David Green and Tim Fedewa, they pitted last on the same lap, so they should be in about the same situation. You know, if he runs out of gas, my heart bleeds for him, because you know, that's a tough situation, being dominant all day long, leading the race, looking for his first win, and run out of fuel. That would be a heartbreaker.
16 laps to go, and it's about 25 car lengths back to that Slim Jim car number 44 of David Green.
the Owensboro, Kentucky campaigner.
I think David Green's just starting to turn it on. You know, I think he knows that he only has 15 laps. If he has something to do, he has something for Tim Fedewa, he's got to get going. And he's starting to be a little bit more aggressive with the car. He's starting to toss it around a little bit more. He's starting to hustle traffic a little bit harder. So, you know, we may see a race between these two before it's out.
He's cut that lead from 3 laps ago in half. Has number 44, Green, closing on number 55. 14 to go.
I wouldn't want to be the lap car that you know, make the difference in this race between these two. They've raced all day long hard together, and it'd be nice to see Tim get his first win here.
Take a look at the attrition in this race. Crouch, hard crash, took him out. Stefanik, Jeff Berry, Dale Williams, Randy Porter, Jeremy Mayfield have all been caught up in incidents. If you're just enjoying this, 10 cautions. There's the second. Dirk Stevens, Larry Pearson. Larry Pearson came back out a moment ago and turned a lap. Dennis Setzer knocked out of this event. Just to see him run those sportsman races down at Charlotte. I think you're going to see a lot out of Dennis Setzer in years to come. Good racer. But the story right now is Fedewa, and can he stay there for 13 more laps? And he's drawn away by about 3 car lengths. I guess they've given the word to him as they continue to wend their way around the Halden Lane. The racing wounded out here at Nazareth this afternoon. A lot of equipment torn up, and Larry Pearson's back on pit road in number 92 again. And going back to the garage, front end kinked up, back end corked up. Bad day for the Stanley Tool car out of this one.
Tim Fedewa's got to look at it. If he just, you know, if he's got to run hard. If he runs out of gas, he runs out of gas. I mean, he can't back off. He's got David Green coming down, you know, breathing down his throat, and you know, he's just got to do what he's doing, and he's been doing all day long in the car. Stay out of trouble, hustle through traffic, and you know, and try not to slide the car, heat those tires up so David Green runs up on it.
Battle for 7th here. Here you see the 08 Doddard closing another time on car 57. Jason Keller.
Yeah, Jason Keller with that wrinkled hood up there. You know, it's amazing. He's running really good with the body damage that he has. But, you know, he was unfortunate to get caught up in one of those wrecks that we had earlier.
Fedewa has driven a masterful race. To get through this thing without marks on your car is remarkable. You get an A for that alone. And the lead is, no matter where you've been in lap practice, you're bound to get abused, but somehow he's kept that car away from the incidents and leads by better than a second, and for the moment is drawing away.
For this track being a mile in length, I mean, it's almost like a short track. I mean, there's not a car around here that doesn't have a mark on it. It's like they just got through running at a place that was a quarter-mile long and real narrow and real hard to pass.
Take a look at Doddard down on the inside into turn 1. Bobby Doddard just under the Budgie Gourmet car of Jason Keller. Good fight there. Doddard in the 08. Whoa!
That was
those lap cars.
It was close.
Meanwhile, up in front, Fedewa by almost 1 8/10. As that high tool car continues to put on a great show here. Fedewa back to the line, and there are 8 laps remaining. How about it, Ralph Shaheen? Any word down there in Fedewa's pits? They getting a little anxious?
Ken, there's a lot of anxious people down here. Diane DeWitt, of course, continues to run the computer, the car owner. She's keeping an eye on laps and so forth. It's nervous time for sure. In fact, Mr. Deal, the guy who's going to get his hair cut off here in a little while, they're already starting to show him the scissors, and he's starting to get a little nervous as well.
Scott Deal, who has known Tim Fedewa, the 47 car down on the bottom. Jeff Fuller giving way, letting Fedewa through.
You know, Fedewa's just got to be careful, but yet, you know, can't back off. He knows David Green's back there, and he knows that, you know, David's no slouch. He's really got to, you know, he'd like to keep that space, that cushion up, you know, open, just in case he gets caught in lap traffic, you know, the next 5 laps or so. He's got 6 laps to go, and, you know, in 6 laps in NASCAR racing, anything can happen.
A week ago, Loudon, New Hampshire, Fedewa 2 laps down, made up one under green, and came right back up through the field in those last laps. Another 50 laps. He would have been a real contender had everything stayed together. Today, he started from outside of the front row. He has fought his way through 10 caution periods, a lot of major disasters for some great teams, and it looks like he's going to be the 8th different winner. And he'd be the 4th driver to win from outside of the front row. Nobody's ever done it from the pole, if anybody's going to do it. And there's the haircut boy. They've got the shears ready, and they're ready to take him to victory lane. This would be like the dunk when you win a sailboat race, huh?
Yeah, or the ice chest.
Tim Fedewa never has won a Grand National race. Arco, ASA, that's where he came up through.
He's still got his work cut out for him. There's 4 laps to go. He's coming up on 4 slower cars. You know, this is where, if there's a chance for David Green to win this race, it's coming up here in the next lap or so, because he's coming up, Tim Fedewa's coming up on these slower cars.
Out of 2, down the back straightaway.
They're being polite. The lap cars are definitely getting out of the way.
The Minolta Ford stays first. Here's Green. He's cut the distance back some as he closes in at number 44. 3 laps remaining. Ralph?
PJ, if this car hiccups on him with 3 to go, how does he slosh the car to the victory lane?
I don't know. I think he'll have to start weaving back and forth, and you know, if it hiccups as close as David Green is, I think he'll be in trouble.
Couple laps to go, and this one's over. 1 lap to go now as he comes out of turn 3 and up to the line into 1.
White flag. You can see his, I think that was his car owner. She was starting to shed some tears.
Tim Fedewa from the state of Michigan, who've given us so many great racers. Looks like they've got one in the making here.
He's done an awesome job all day long. He's been fast. He's been out of trouble. He's raced patiently and done a great job in lap traffic.
Checkers ready to fly, and we have a new winner in Grand National Racing. First career win after 67 starts goes to Fedewa. Tim Fedewa is headed for victory lane.
You know, it's great to see a team that hadn't won a race yet win a race, and the excitement and the you know, and the happiness that circulates. And you know, this is probably one of many to come for him. He's a great race driver.
And David Green runs out of gas on the final lap as he comes to the line. Unbelievable finish. Hey, victory lane's going to be something. We'll get off here for a second, take a quick break, and come right back to see Victory Lane become a barbershop.
Today's exclusive coverage of the Meridian Advantage 200 on TNN has been brought to you by Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car.
Right to Victory Lane with Ralph Shaheen.
Well, it's a happy bunch down here for Tim Fedewa. Congratulations. First, tell me about it. How much gas did you have left at the end, and how'd you nurse it home?
I don't know, man. We just, you know, we knew we were going to be close, and we've been calculating fuel mileage after last week real hard, and they done their homework this week, and we made it. You know, what a great car. Brian, my crew chief, Scott, everybody, man, what a great job. Little Joe's Autos, Manola Color Copiers. Hey, well, I can't say enough about this car. The whole team has really come together this year.
I know you've been waiting on these. Here's Scott Deal. We want to see the first couple of snips on live TV on TNN. There it is. You win a Busch race, you get to cut your crew guy. Now, come on now. We want to see some hair go flying. We want to see some hair come flying here. Oh, I guess they've been friends too long, Ken.
Well, they said they were going to make him bald. They were going to scalp him. Huh. Well,
I was kind of interested to see that.
I think we all were. Well, we'll have a word with them after this thing is over. A word of congratulations for a job well done. Tim Fedewa and company with Diane and Ray DeWitt and Barry Smith celebrating their first Grand National career victory for this brilliant young driver who was so smooth all day.
He did a great job. I mean, he stayed patient, calm, and when you're, you know, somebody like that doesn't have a race victory in your pocket already, and you got somebody like David Green, who's the former champion, a guy who's won races in the series, behind you all day long. That just adds the pressure to you, and he did an awesome job.
And the Grand National loads up for Charlotte next week as we take a look at the top standings. And P.J. Jones heads for I-70 Speedway, Odessa, Missouri. You'll see it on TNN next week. Fidoa wins today in the Meridian Advantage 200. Heveron finishes in second. What a great run for Doug Heveron. Benson third, and ending up back in fifth was David Green as he ran out of fuel coming to the line. So that's the story this afternoon for Ralph Shaheen, who did a grand job down there on pit road, and for P.J. Jones with his first performance up here in the booth. Wonderful to have you with us. Best wishes to your brother, Paige, and we'll see you soon right back here on TNN with more motorsports. Stay tuned for NHRA Today, then Win with Rusty Wallace, and Race Day catches you all up tonight right here where you can't get any closer. TNN.